Bring it home.
Just 3 hits. Sixes, sixes. That was not bringing it home.
No, that was not
That
three
was the
hits.
furthest thing from bringing it home. Hello, everyone. It's Alex Ratcliffe from Board Game Co. And today with me we have Jamie Perkins and Fraser McFetridge from Steamforge Games. And today we're playing RuneScape Kingdoms. Or more specifically, we're playing a 3-hour semi-introductory session. I think this is like the intro session of 3 hours worth of RuneScape Kingdoms. And for those who don't know, and I'll let you both talk about it in a second, because for those who don't know, I mean, I know nothing about RuneScape. I've played Guild Wars. I've not played World of Warcraft. I have a few years of Guild Wars under my belt in terms of MMORPGs. RuneScape Kingdoms is something. RuneScape is a game that I never had a chance to dive into. I'm very intrigued to see how this one plays out. I'm coming at it purely from a stance of what is this, what does it does, no nostalgia attached, and all of that. And this is a game that's going to be launching on Kickstarter fairly shortly. I believe May 31st or 30th or something.
Yes, May 31st. Yep.
May 31st. Perfect. And we'll have a link to all that stuff down below. And with that, Jamie, Fraser, if you want to take it away.
Well, thank you for having us on once again, Alex. So yeah, just to reintroduce the game, this is the 3 hour. As you said, it's got about 3 hours worth of play content that we're going to look at today, and this is the first campaign of the campaign sets that are within the core box for RuneScape Kingdoms. So whilst we're putting this together as a campaign game, and we do have about 3 hours of content to look through here, we wouldn't be expecting people to play through 3 hours of content in one go and have to finish it in that time when people get the final game, because sometimes people can be put off by like, oh, this is a massive amount of play time. We're very much designing the game and the game box to be able to play as much as you'd like of the game's content, say an hour, half an hour, or up to 3 hours or beyond, and then to be able to store away an active campaign in progress before you then take it out again for your future play session. So whilst we're going to go through this sort of full 3 hour with the campaign, this isn't something where people, when they buy the game, would be prescribed to, oh, I must play this in 3 hours, or there's no point. It's not that kind of game. So just to introduce the game properly, it's a cooperative board game for 1 to 5 players. It's based on on both of the RuneScape video games, that would be RuneScape and Old School RuneScape, and it takes content inspired by both of those video games. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to play through some of the more sort of iconic quest content of those video games. So what we've done is we've taken the Vampire Slayer quest, which is one of kind of the early to mid game quests that you play through in the video games, and that's going to be your overarching storyline that you're playing through in the first campaign. Once you've played through that overarching quest line, you've got your upgraded character in terms of experience and skills and equipment, and you roll straight through into the next campaign, which is based on another of the iconic quests from the early to mid game of RuneScape video games, and you'll be playing through those campaigns sort of in succession. One of the things that we've done with the board game is taken those iconic quests and we've kind of threaded through a narrative that works through all of them collectively. They tend to be sort of individualized quests that don't often follow through to each other in the video games. But we've worked with the game designers at Jagex to make small iterative changes to those storylines, and in some cases create whole new storylines that work together as an overarching narrative. Along the way, you'll be experiencing something like an open world or sandbox experience in terms of playing RuneScape Kingdoms. So that campaign system is very much intended to be a backdrop or overall defined start and finish to your experience. Otherwise, you could end up just playing along with all the different distractions and myriad of different things to do in the board game with kind of no endpoint, and not, board games aren't designed to have no endpoint as much as video games can be. So what we're going to be doing today is playing through the Vampire Slayer campaign. You've elected to take on the role of the wizard. I'm going to be playing as the knight, and Fraser's going to be playing as the archer. Now, whereas in a lot of board games, this would give you a prescribed way to play the game, i.e. you're stuck into those roles. That's not the case in RuneScape Kingdoms. Just as in the video games, your character is a complete blank slate, and you can level their skills in literally whatever way you'd like. Because we will be working cooperatively as a team, we'll probably, a big part of this game experience will be discussing with each other who's going to be best placed to level in different skills that we'll need to progress through, because your skills are very much like how you interact with the world around you. So between us, we'll need to try and gain a lot of stats and various equipment to help us along those different elements of the game. Okay, so whereas that's kind of like a fairly decent overview of where we're coming from, what we can do right here is just jump straight into the game mechanics. So the first thing we'll need to do is take our player characters, and we'll just put them on one of the capital regions. That's the larger banners that you have here on the game board. So just pick any one of them that you like, and you can put your character down. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for Edgeville. If you go for perhaps a Lumbridge phrase, that'd be great. Cool. Okay. And then what I think we'll do is we'll guide you through your first turn, Alex. So
sounds good.
So during your first turn during your turn of the game, you'll get to make a movement choice. So you can move to any one of the adjacent regions nearby, or you can stay where you are. And those regions are connected by the black dots to the sort of larger and smaller banners on the game board. Once you've moved to that region, you'll get to make a choice of either whether you're going to explore the region or whether you're going to take a quest action. Exploring is more common. Questing happens when you have a specific quest that you're fulfilling in that region, whether you have a side quest or you're fulfilling a campaign. So let's walk through what happens if you went to, say, Port Sarim, if you want to take your wizard and go to Port Sarim. Now, we don't have any active quests that are going on in Port Sarim right now. Like, your character has a side quest they've started with called the Cook's Assistant. That takes place in Lumbridge. And the campaign, that overall campaign, the first step of that campaign takes place in Draenor Village, which is not where you are. So what you're going to do is you're going to explore Port Sarim. So to explore Port Sarim, we're going to take one of the exploration cards for this area of the game board. You may have noticed that the banners are all grouped by a particular color or a banner that they have. That correlates to the particular exploration card. That's it. You've got it. So if you want to bring that card over for us and then flip it over, and we can take a look at it.
Falador.
That's it. So you want the section of the card that's named for Port Sarim. Would you mind reading out the text section there, please?
Some drunken sailors spoiling for a fight catch you by yourself.
Okay, so as the card says, some drunken sailors have decided to have a fight with you. Now, what you've got at the end of this section here is a skill icon and a pair of numbers. This is what's called a skill test. You'll interact with these quite often in the game, and this is where the skills I mentioned earlier, how you're going to interact with the world around you, most commonly that takes the form of skill tests. So what we're going to do here is this is a defense skill test, because that's the skill icon that's shown for the Port Sarim skill test.
I'm currently at 1.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. So the first number at the top there is a 2. We compare that to your current skill. So because your current skill is 1, that means you're going to get to roll 1 die. If you had an equal skill level to that skill test complexity, you'd get to roll 2 dice because you're quite good at it. If you had a higher level than the complexity, then you get to roll 3 dice. So whether that's if you're level 3 or level 99, you'd be getting more dice at it. Either way. So in this case, you're going to roll the 1. And what you're looking for is that second number, which is the 8. That's quite a difficult skill test. So it does
seem like. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If I get a 7, I'm going to add my 1 to it, or not really?
No. So this means what your skill is. All it's doing is determining the number of dice.
How many dice you roll? Okay. Yeah. Well, this is a 10-sided die.
Yes, a D10.
Let's find out. Ooh, so close.
So just missed out on it this time. So in this case, it's going to say you can either suffer a wound or discard 2 coins. So because we haven't really interacted with resources yet, I'm probably just going to recommend you just take a wound on your character.
It is.
Okay, so that's one of these sort of hit splats down here.
Onto a specific or a health? There we go.
Onto your health. That's the one. Okay. So we've explored the region. Didn't go particularly well, but we have now successfully explored the region. And we put the exploration card away. The last thing you can do in the region there is, if there is a skill icon on the banner, then you can spend resources to gain experience because you're literally skilling. It's called skilling in the video games, and getting experience there. Or you can pick up some resources. Where you are now, there's some fruit. So that just means that because you've explored the area, you can pick up a fruit token.
Okay. Now, what would I have had to spend to gain that resource, that skill?
So in this case, you haven't spent anything to gain the resource. Just because you've explored the region, you can pick up the resource that's there. That's just free. You've also done it. If you'd gone somewhere with the skill icons, let's say if you traveled to Melzar's Maze.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a crafting icon there. So in that case, you'd be instead of gaining resources, you'd be spending resources to gain experience in your skills.
Gotcha. Okay. What would I spend exactly?
So you've got some starting resources under your character. These are things like stone and flour and eggs. And you've also got some fruit now as well. So you'd be spending any of those to gain your experience. The reason for that is because a lot of the skilling mechanics in the video games are you spend a resource to get some experience and a resource back. So let's say if you were creating armor and weaponry, you would mine some metal ore, so you get some mining experience. You'd then smith the metal ore into metal bars, and then you'd forge into metal bars, and then you'd smith it into weapons and armor. So you're trading in a resource at each point to get different experience. The thing in the video games is that they have literally hundreds of different types of resources, and for a board game we can't have that many, so we shorten that down to 12, and we're just generally following that principle of when you use a skilling area, you're expending resources to just gain experience in your skills.
Sounds good.
So how that works, we can actually see you gaining some experience here, because when you took that skill test before on your exploration card, which was defense, anytime you take a skill test, you're going to gain an experience point in that skill. So even whether you're passing or failing skill tests the whole way through the game, you're going to be getting experience in those skills. And it's one of the ways in which you can kind of fail forwards, even if you're being a bit unlucky. Okay. What's going to happen once you get to 3 experience points in a particular skill, that will level up to the next one. So once you've got to 3 experience points, you go to level 2 in defense. Okay. So that would be the end of your turn. So we're going to come back around to me playing as the knight, and I'm currently in Edgeville. Okay, so I'm going to show an example of what we talked about before about leveling, or gaining skills. So I am going to move to Barbarian Village. And we're going to explore Barbarian Village, which is drawn also from the Falador deck. Flip the card over. For Barbarian Village, on the outskirts of the village, there are wild plants and animals aplenty, waiting to be found. So there's no fail result on this skill test. So if I pass it, I can get an ingredient of my choice, or if I fail it, then there's nothing that's going to go. It's going to be a problem here. So my gathering skill is only 1, so I'm only going to get to roll 1 die at this so far. But I need to roll a 6 or more. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so I've managed to pass the skill test. So whether I pass or fail, I've still gained that experience point in gathering. And then because I passed, I gain the benefit of being able to pick an ingredient. Now, that's going to be some food. We haven't really got any way of making like cooked food or rations yet. So I'm just going to take something that we don't have yet, which I think is going to be herbs, I think. Okay, I'll take some herbs. Just make sure we've got some different stuff there. Okay, so I have explored Barbarian Village. I can now interact with the skilling icon at the bottom here. So it's for ranged. So what I can do is I can spend up to 3 resources. They have to be different resources to gain an experience point for each one that I spend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick away the herbs I've just gotten, the meat, and the leather. And I'm going to gain 3 experience tokens that are going to go into my ranged skill. So because I'm going to gain 3 experience points there, just take them straight back off and gain a level.
Gotcha. And is it up to 3 in general, or it's up to what you necessary to get to the next level?
Up to 3. Up to 3. So you can go past and then gain experience in the next level if you want to. Okay, so that would be the end of my turn. I think Fraser can probably give us a really good example of what happens when you take a quest action, which is the other thing that happens when you move.
Right, yeah, correct. So what I'm going to do is, actually, before I play my turn, I'm going to set up the scene for the Vampire Slayer quest. So the first thing we do when we start our campaign is we get this campaign deck off to the right, and we draw the first card in it. This is a scene setter for Vampire Slayer, so I'm going to bring that up and read it off. Vampire awakens. In the crypt beneath Draenor Manor, Count Draenor awakens to sate his thirst for blood. And then it instructs us to make some various changes to the game board and one of the exploration decks. This is the very brief intro to what we're going to be doing on the campaign. We're going to need to deal with this vampire at some point. So I already did all the stuff we can see on 2 of the regions, Draenor Manor and Draenor Village. There's danger tokens that make skill tests harder when you're in those regions. And there's some fairly dangerous exploration cards that are themed around Count Draenor that have shuffled themselves into the Lumbridge deck, which we will find at some point.
Okay.
So I'm going to take our first steps towards advancing the campaign. So I'm going to take my archer adventurer and move from Lumbridge to Draenor Village. So unlike the 2 provinces that you guys stepped on, there is a quest action that I can perform when I'm in Draenor Village. Speak to Morgan on the Vampire Slayer campaign board. Okay. So instead of exploring, I'm going to do that. So I'll bring it up, read it out. The people of Draenor Village live in constant terror. Their numbers are dwindling, all due to the foul creature lurking in the manor to the north, known as a vampire. One villager, Morgan, seeks aid. And then it says, an adventurer in Draenor Village with defense 1 or more can perform the following action. Speak to Morgan by collecting Vault Card 1. So I am an adventurer. I have defense 1 and I am in Draenor Village, so I can do that. So I'll go into the vault and collect Vault Card 1. Vampire Slayer. So the vault is a place that we store cards that will be collected for various different reasons throughout the campaign. Sometimes a card like this, a character card for us to interact with an NPC in the world. Sometimes it'll be an upgraded piece of equipment. Sometimes it'll be the continuation of a quest. It could be any number of different things. So in this case, this is how Morgan speaks to us. Please help us, bold adventurer. Our little village has been dreadfully ravaged by an evil vampire. He lives in the basement of the manor in the north. We need someone to get rid of him once and for all. I have a friend who's a retired vampire hunter. His name is Dr. Harlow. He may be able to give you some tips. He can normally be found in the Blue Moon Inn in Varrock. Morgan has spoken to us. Morgan has asked for our aid and told us what we need to do to help him. So at the bottom of the card, it also says gain 3 coins and 1 defense experience. So that's my rewards for advancing the campaign quest. I get my coins.
So a few questions. The blue moon in Varrock, is that just Varrock itself? Because I'm not seeing a blue moon in location.
So one of the things you'll notice here is that the game board that we're playing on is very much abstracted as like a fast travel style map. It's very much zoomed out as a look at the world. So the Blue Moon Inn is a reference to one of the taverns that players can go to in the video games. It doesn't appear on the game board itself, but it's telling you what's actually happening. What's going to need to happen here is the next step of our campaign board, where it says speak to Dr. Harlow, tells us that we need to go to Varrock to speak to him. So we all need to go to the city itself. The Blue Moon Inn is in Varrock, but for our board game, we're just going to Varrock. And
Gotcha. So the
rest of those instructions are more of just narrative.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay. Secondly, as far as speak to Morgan, the people join village. Okay, fine. So that's fine. That clears up. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So back to my turn. Oh no! One more question. It says required skill defense of 1. Do we ever start with less than 1 in this skill?
No, you won't. So well, you technically would right at the start of the game, but what we've done here as well is we've jumped into a point where we've already kind of played the tutorial, which is literally called Tutorial Island. Okay. So your character would start at level 0 with everything. You'd finish Tutorial Island with level 1 in all of your stats. So yes, it technically is, but you wouldn't be on this game board with level 0.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. So my turn, I believe, right?
Yeah.
All right, so going to my character, I'm going to go ahead and wander. Remington can give me... I only have 2 places I can go. I can go back to Falador. So let's say I go back to Falador. What are my options in Falador?
So this is a capital region which works slightly differently. So instead of drawing an exploration card, because the cities are not necessarily safer place, but they're more consistent places, sure. You know what to expect from them. So if you explore a capital region, you'll still get to gain the resource at the bottom of the flag, which is a thread. And instead of spending resources to gain experience and skills, you'd be spending the coins that you've gathered. So on the left-hand side of the banner, it says you can spend 1 coin to gain experience in crafting. On the right-hand side, it's 2 coins to gain experience in gathering and cooking. You could do any of those or all of them if you wanted to. Also, when you travel through a capital region, it's going to advance the escalation track, which is just over here as well. This is like our overall game timer. When this track gets to the top here, we're going to pull the next campaign card out, which tells us that Count Draenor has decided to come and do more things to the
So ideally, we want to try avoiding that clock.
Yes. It's not something that's like Doomsday End of the World, but it's something that is it's a considered choice.
If I'm not sold on how important it is to go to Falador, I may as well go to Remington. And can I stay in the same location?
You can do if you want to, yes.
Okay, but I'm not going to. That's more of a question thing, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a card, flip it over, and Falador. In Remington, patrons of the local tavern are easily distracted by sales of adventure. Now, so if I had 4 in this skill, I'd roll 2 dice. But correct. I don't, so I just have to roll 1 die, but I only have to get a 4, which is the upside.
Correct.
So I'm going to go ahead and roll that die. Let's go ahead and get an 8. There we go. The 8 I needed from last time. We'll go ahead and gain 2 coins, and we'll get a skill in the mask over here. So I'm going to go ahead and get an experience point in... Whoops, that's the wrong card to grab. I'm going to grab an experience point in... There we go. And then I get 2 coins as well, which I'll just grab a 2 coin over here. And then additionally, I get that resource, which is that one over there.
It's the cabbage. Yep. It's the real ball.
Okay, perfect. That's my turn.
Cool. So that's you done. We'll put that card back into the Falador deck. Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to show a slightly different mechanic with my turn, which is obviously the game board is quite large with a number of different spaces on it. And say if you were in somewhere on the left-hand side, say over at Melzar's Maze, but you really needed to jump onto the right-hand side of the board, say Varrock, that would take you quite a number of turns to get across there. So what we've taken as inspiration for the video games as well is that you can actually teleport to the capital regions only. You can't teleport to the provinces; those are the smaller banners. But if you really need to get across the board, you could spend 1 gold, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go across the board over here to Varrock, which I technically didn't need to do because I could have just advanced and crossed across it. But that's something you could do even if you were all the way over in Tavali or White Wolf Mountain.
Gotcha.
Once you've gone over to the capital region, you can then explore it as if you had just moved onto it as normal. But instead, what I'm going to do is, because I think I have the thieving skill that we need, level 2, I'm actually going to do the next part of our campaign quest, which is speak to Dr. Harlow. So, Dr. Harlow is willing to help you in your quest, but first his lips must be wetted by a beer newly brewed. An adventurer in Varrock with thieving 2 or more can perform the following action: get your hands on a newly brewed beer, and then speak to Dr. Harlow by collecting Vault Card 2. So, let's bring Vault Card 2 over. Okay. Vault Card 2 says, vampires. I was very good at killing them once. You're going to need a stake. Otherwise, you'll just regenerate. And not just any piece of wood will do. Get a branch from the ancient evergreen at the foot of White Wolf Mountain, although it's less cooperative than it used to be. You'll need a hammer as well to drive it in properly. Your everyday hammer won't do. You'll need to craft something specific, and there's a rumor of a master craftsman living south of Port Sarim. One last thing, is wise to carry garlic with you. Vampires are somewhat weakened if they can smell garlic, and the more the better. So I'll just take the quest reward before we move on. So that's 3 gold coins and a thieving experience.
Okay.
Experience in thieving. Okay, now what's happened here is we've completed the second part of our quest to undertake Vampire Slayer. What we've got here is something that happens quite commonly in a number of the quests in the RuneScape video games. Is you'll have a step you need to speak to someone, a step you need to speak to somebody else, and then you'll need to gather a number of different items or speak to people or do multiple different things at once. And it's entirely up to you in what order you complete them. So we've got that represented here in the board game by this now splitting out into 3 sort of miniature quests that you need to undertake to get the next part of the game done. So this is something we should probably obviously divide up between us, because collectively this is what we need to get done. The first one being get the wreath of garlic, where someone will need to have a cooking level of 3 to get the wreath of garlic.
Okay.
We need to get the steak from the evergreen tree in Tavali, and that's recommended that you have a melee skill of 3, because that tree isn't happy to give you its steak just on its own. And then we have to craft the hammer, so that requires a crafting skill of 3, and you'll have to go to Port Sarum, different point on the game board. So we probably should have a quick conversation about who's kind of best placed to go and do those things.
I currently have crafting 2, so I imagine I should get the hammer.
Sure, yeah. So that'd be quite good. So that just basically gives you an opportunity to inform your decisions about the different things that you could do with your turn. So maybe you could take on a side quest that helps you with crafting, or you'll go to a particular point in the board that helps you level crafting up. Yep, and it just kind of helps you form decisions. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. I think that means we're going to go to Fraser next.
Now, quick question. I believe I saw something about how you mentioned the art is currently placeholder to a degree.
Yes, it very much is. Yeah. So to take a good example of that would be the cards we've just looked at already. These are very much just in-game screen grabs that we've taken as placeholder for the time being. We are in the process of having concept art drawn over for all of this stuff.
And are you going for something reminiscent of the video game, or are you going for something completely, fresh?
So it's part of actually why the game's called RuneScape Kingdoms. It's attempting to show that it's taken inspiration both from RuneScape and old school RuneScape, but it very much is its own game. So we've been allowed to iterate on the narrative and the direction of the game a little bit with that as well, whilst keeping it feeling very much like a RuneScape game. But also with the visual style, we've been allowed to go in our own direction a little bit, whilst taking inspiration from both. So with a good example of that would be the player characters we're playing with. They're not direct translations of what you see in the video games, but our sculpting team have been allowed to iterate on the designs and visual inspirations from both, and that's very much the case with the art style. So the game board we're playing on is something that our in-house artists has drawn up for us based on inspiration and briefs from the Jagex team and from the video games as well.
Perfect. Okay, great. And so you just did your turn, and now it's up to you, Fraser, I believe.
Yeah, so I've got a number of options about what I want to do. I could look to gather some resources to attempt to upgrade my equipment. I can go and start working towards finishing my side quest. I can start leveling up some skills through the campaign quest. I think what I'm going to do is make some moves towards advancing my side quest, Gertrude's Cat. So in order to advance that, I need to get to the dig site. So I'm not there at the moment, but I'm pretty close. So I'm going to move back to Lumbridge on my way. So I'm in Lumbridge, so I can spend some coins to gain experience. I don't really want magic for 1 coin. I would like cooking, so I'm going to spend 1 coin to gain an experience in cooking. And since I am an archer, I would quite like some ranged experience. I'll spend another 2 coins to get an experience in ranged.
Excellent. I just want to point out to our audience that right after being warned that advancing the capitals is not necessarily the best thing, the 2 Steamforged games people go ahead and advance in the capitals, and I avoid it.
You did. That definitely makes you the wisest player amongst us.
Okay, cool.
So I'll gain my wood from having explored the region, and then the escalation track will pop up by 1.
I already did it for both.
Oh, you did it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great. On my turn, I'm going to go ahead and head down to Melzar's Maze, because it gives me the crafting training that I'm going to need for my ability. So I'm going to go ahead, Melzar's Maze, I'm going to flip this card, and I'm going to look at the fact that in Melzar's Maze, I need that skill. I'm going to roll... Oh, do I roll 2 dice by default now?
So what was that? Sorry, you've got...
over here, Melzar's Maze.
You're in the Melzar's Maze. So you're doing your craft. Yeah, so exactly, yeah. So because you already have thieving 1, you're going to get to roll 2 dice of that.
Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and drag these 2 dice, which means I need to shift click if I'm not mistaken, and then tap them both. And we managed to get, is that a 0 or a 10?
It's a 10.
Beautiful. I like you a lot more now. Gain a material of your choice. Now, any materials, can we trade materials in this game?
We can. So when you're stood in the same region as another adventurer, then you can just trade any materials freely. There's also what's called a clan bank, where any of the capital regions that you're in, another reason to go to capitals, you can just store resources and gold, etc., in the clan bank that other players can pick up when they're at any other capital.
Excellent. So from my end, I don't know what's my quest. My quest is going to Lumbridge, and I need certain ingredients. I already have the cherries. I have the egg, which means I do want the flour, but I have that already. So I have all the 3 ingredients I need. Is there anything anyone else specifically needs?
It's worth noting that when you fail a cooking test like that on the recipe for the cook's assistant quest, you have to discard one of the resources that you used because you've screwed it up somehow and you've stood in a cherry or whatever. So having a duplicate of one of them is not a terrible idea for redundancy.
Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a cherry. Let's go to grab a cherry down there, although now that I think about it, it might not matter much because I'm now about to go ahead and take my second action where I level up my crafting. So I'm going to get rid of that card up here. I'm going to level up my crafting, which means I have to give in 3 ingredients anyways. And I guess given the situation, I'm going to give in these 3. I'll have to clean up of them in a second. So I'm going to give in those 3 to immediately bump my crafting to 3.
Okay, you got it.
That's my turn.
Okay, so coming back to me, I think I'm going to have a look at this side quest that I've got, which is called Bandit Hunting Ryan. So let's have a look at this card down here. So side quest is something that each of us have been given one to start off with. Obviously, you have your Cook's Assistant quest. I have got Bandit Hunting Ryan. So for this one instead, I'm going to have to, this is what it says, Duke Horatio seeks help hunting down bandits who have fled from Lumbridge. So if I didn't already have this side quest, I could only accept it in Lumbridge, but I already have it. An adventurer in the Black Knight's Fortress can perform the following action: slay a bandit. And then once I've completed that side quest, I'm going to get a whole load of melee experience and some gold coins as well, which will help us out later in the game. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move across here to the Grand Exchange to start moving towards Black Knight's Fortress that's up here. So I'm going to draw a Barrack card. Okay, and I am in the Grand Exchange. So those with a deft hand can often find coins, those without. Okay, so this is going to make me take a thieving test. My thieving is still not quite high enough. I'm thieving 2, so I'm only going to roll 1 die at this, and I need to get a 7. Okay. So we go with that. Nope, didn't get it this time around. So I have suffered a wound, but I still gain my experience point in thieving.
Oh, speaking of which, I believe I forgot to take my experience point, which was in, what was it in? It's right here. It was in Melzar's Maze. That. Okay.
Okay, and I can also take some flour because I have explored into the Grand Exchange. And that's my turn done.
Okay.
Fraser?
Cool. I'm just going to tidy the board up a little bit because I'm about to stand on that. So I'm going to jump into the dig site, and I'm going to do my quest action. So Gertrude's cat. Gertrude has lost her cat Fluffs and desperately wants to find her. Can you help bring Fluffs home? I could only have accepted the quest if I was in Varrock, but let's assume that I was already in Varrock earlier before we started filming to have accepted the quest. So now, if this adventurer is in dig site, they can perform the following action: locate Fluffs. So I need to take a gathering skill test to try and find Fluffs. So my gathering right now is 1 and the complexity is 2, so I'll only get to roll the 1 dice. So let's see how I get on. A 5, not quite. So I failed that skill test. I will have to advance the escalation track by 1 for having failed. So that pops up by another 1. I'll get my experience in gathering. And that's my turn finished.
Okay.
Back to
myself. I'm going to go ahead, and at this point it's more about, let's see, well, now I have the crafting 3. In theory, I need to make my way to Port Sarum. Port Sarum is where exactly? Where is Port? There we go. Oh, I was just there. Hey, look at that. Maybe I'll head right back there. Do I want to try to make my way through the capital city? See, interestingly enough, they had crafting there as an option. But I'm not in a rush. Let me just take a look at that action. Hammer. I'm going to need to be in Port Sarum with 3 or more. Perform that following action. Required skill. It seems pretty specific. I will go ahead and just start heading back to Port Sarum. Make it quick and simple. I'm going to go back to Remington over here. I'm going to draw that skill card, flipping it over, and looking at Remington, which is generous farmers will also. So random events. So this over here, just for clarification, there's... No, never mind. Perfect. Okay. Generous farmers will often share their crop with helpful adventurers. Roll 2 dice, get a 4 or plus, and get an ingredient of your choice. So let's go ahead and do that. That should be a pretty simple roll. but let's find out if it is. It's a 10. Perfect. So I gain an ingredient of my choice, and I gain a skill point, an experience point in that skill and crafting over there. And for ingredient, I'll go back with that whole duplication aspect for that quest I'm going to be going on, and that's my turn.
Okay, let's just draw that final card back up there. Okay, I'm going to continue on my side quest to go to Black Knight's Fortress. So I'm going to come back to Edgeville. Going to advance the escalation track by 1, and I'm going to gain some metal for exploring Edgeville. And I am going to spend 1 coin to get an experience point in defense. That's always useful. And I think I've already started to level ranged up a little bit, but yeah, sure, it's only 1 gold. So I'll spend another coin to get an experience point in ranged as well, because that might be useful later on. Okay, and that is me.
All right, so what I want to do is avoid failing that skill test again, and I don't fancy the 50-50. So because there's a gathering icon in the dig site, which I'm already in, I'm not going to move. I'm going to explore it so I can level my gathering before attempting the side quest again. So what have I got? Dig site. Dispel the magical protection of an artifact uncovered at the dig site for a reward. So that's magic test, complexity 3, so 1 die, but I only need a 4, so let's see how that one goes. 10, nailed it. So I'll get my experience in magic. I will get 2 coins as a reward for that. And now I can spend my resources. So I'm only going to spend the 1. I'm going to spend these logs to gain 1 experience in gathering, which gets me the 3 I need to level that skill.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
My turn. I'm going to head to Port Sarim, and I am going to go ahead and build the hammer. Your everyday hammer won't do. You'll need to craft something specific. An adventurer in Port Sarim with 3 crafting more can perform the following action. Speak to Thurgo by collecting Vault Cart 9.
Yep.
That schematic. After hearing your request, Thurgo rummages through some old, dusty shelves until he finds what he's looking for. Been a minute since I've looked this one out. I don't have time to craft it myself, mind you. Tell you what, even for a beginner, making this hammer shouldn't be too tough. Take the schematic, find the materials in a decent forge, and you'll be able to put it together yourself. Collect Vault Cart 10.
There's Vault Cart 10.
Hammer with the head perfectly concave for driving a stake into a vampire's heart. Required skill 3. Materials. Oh boy. Okay, great. We're gonna have to go ahead and get those over there, and we'll put that in play. Let's take a look here. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that that hammer and put it off to the side. Okay.
Sure, no problem. So this is going to be one of those really useful instances where we should really be using the clan bank or trading resources with each other in either way we can to get that into one place. So, but for the time being, though, was that the end of your turn, I presume, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to continue my side quest and go to Black Knight's Fortress and attempt to bandit hunt Ryan. So this is a complexity 1 skill test for melee. My skill in melee is 1. So I would get to roll 2 dice at it because I'm equaling it. However, my starting equipment piece is a bronze longsword. So we haven't talked a huge amount about starting equipment yet and other pieces you can get. So the bronze longsword here tells me that I can add an additional equipment die to melee skill tests of complexity 2 or less. Because it's not a particularly good longsword, I can only use it on those lower level skill tests. I can upgrade this weapon to make it a better longsword. That will help me use it in better skill tests, but for the time being, it's useful in beginning ones like this one. So because it's only complexity 1, I can use the equipment die, and it just gives me an extra die to roll on top of everything else as well. So what I need to do for this skill test is, I think it was a 6, so any one of them will be a pass. That is hugely successful. I'll take that. So I've completed the quest. The bandit has been slain. The quest is complete. So I can now gain 4 additional melee experience, including 5, including the one that I gained for taking the test. So 1, 2 would get me to level 2, and then 3 more would get me all the way up to level 3 in melee. That's great. And it also gives me 3 more coins as well. Money. Nope, don't want all of them. I didn't get that.
So what's this quest row, the side quest row over here? This is how we can pick up new quests?
Correct, yeah. So this is how we can pick up brand new side quests. So
those are all... have more than one?
So you can have one at a time, but you've got all these to choose from. If there's a side quest you want that you don't already have, you already have a side quest, you can just trade back the side quest you already have for a new one.
Gotcha.
But you can only have one active side quest at a time. And as soon as somebody pulls one of these available side quests, another one was drawn from the deck, so we can keep them being... There's always a 4 available side quests until we've run out of the deck.
And I can pick them up as a free action on my turn?
Correct. Yeah, as long as you're in the correct area. Sometimes you can pick them up anywhere at all, but sometimes you need to be stood in a specific place. And you need to read the quest card for that. So,
Okay, perfect.
yeah. So I think Goblin Diplomacy is a great example of one where you can pick it up from anywhere, but you need to perform the action in Goblin Village.
Okay.
Okay. So I've completed my side quest, and that is the end of my turn.
All right, so I would normally have done my side quest, but I can actually help out quite a lot with the crafting the hammer if I move to Varrock. So I'm going to move there. I'm going to gain the leather that I get from being there, and then I'm going to immediately put the leather and the wood into the clang bank, which I can do when I explore a capital region.
Yep.
Oops.
You okay?
Yeah, my mouse has turned into a real mouse for a second instead of a little floating hand, and it was not picking up the leather. So I'll drop these down below the campaign board, and that'll be our clan bank.
Yep.
So whenever we explore a capital region, we can drop stuff off and pick stuff up from the clan bank as we want. We can put most things can go in the clan bank. Coins can go in there, resources can go in there, even equipment can go in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to drop those off, and then I can gain more gathering experience. I don't really need more gathering experience just now. I can gain melee and crafting. I don't particularly want either of those either, so I guess that'll just be it for me in Varrock, and the escalation track will move up by another one.
Yeah. Now, so on my turn, I could theoretically grab a side quest, and you said if I have a side quest, I discard it or I swap it.
You swap it; it goes back, so someone else can pick it up.
So hypothetically, I could exchange Witch's Potion for Cook's Assistant. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think so.
Perfect. So I think I'm going to stay in my location, currently where I am, and I'll go ahead and just engage with, what's it called? Because I'm currently in Port Sarim, and I'll engage with the Witch's Potion quest over here.
Sure.
To that end, also question over here. Last turn, I did a campaign progression. Do I still get the cherries in Port Sarim?
No, because that's part of exploring the region
perfect.
instead, where you
Great.
do the quest action.
And so accomplishing a quest again, same thing. I will not get the cherries again.
Correct.
Okay,
That's part of exploring.
But I will go ahead and take that action. I need 2 dice. I need 1 die. I need to roll a 5+, which is definitely going to happen. Absolutely, he says. And it's... Oh, come on. That was a 5 for a quarter of a second. Okay. Witch's Potion. You've accidentally been turned into a squirrel. Looks like you'll need to try again. Once you've turned back into human, advance the escalation track by 1. Well, that's going to go ahead and move us up to the top over there.
Cool. So we're going to draw the next one of these cards. Flip it over. Since you drew it, you can read it.
Screams can be heard far beyond the borders of Draenor Village as the bloodthirsty Count Draenor extends his rampage. Place danger tokens in Wizard's Tower, Farmland, and Barbarian Village. Collect Vault Card 39 and shuffle into the Falador Exploration deck, then collect Vault Card 24 and place it on top. Collect Vault Card 40 and shuffle into the Varric Exploration deck, then collect Vault Card 25 and place it on top. Timer 1.
Okay, so the time one at the bottom, that's just labeling the card as in order.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what we've done there is, whilst Fraser's sorting those exploration cards out, you may have noticed some more of these red tokens have appeared in different points on the game board. So these are the danger tokens. This is just kind of generally representing that Count Draenor is out and about, and he's having a look more in areas of the game board, and he's just generally increasing the danger level. So when you take any kind of skill test in an area of the danger token, you are always going to roll 1 fewer die to a minimum of 1. Okay, so what's happening with these exploration cards is, again, this is another representation of Count Draenor venturing further out from Draenor Village and Draenor Manor, and he's now going to be attacking adventurers in different parts of the game world. And generally, those are things that we want to avoid because he's quite dangerous. So the more of these campaign cards get flipped over, the more these brand new exploration cards are going to shuffle into the decks, and it's going to be harder and harder to avoid Count Draenor. Okay. So I think that was the end of your turn because you attempted to do the side quest. Okay, so that makes it my turn. What am I going to do? So I think I'm going to go back to Edgeville because I'm going to start making my way towards fighting this tree in Taberley. So I'm going to move back to Edgeville. I'm going to explore Edgeville, which increases the escalation track. I'm going to get some metal. And I'm going to spend 1 coin to get some ranged experience. And I'll spend another coin to get some defense experience. Okay, I'm going to leave thieving. Okay, in terms of the clan bank, does anybody need some metal or flour for anything that they're doing at the moment?
I believe I need something metal. I think it's just plain metal. It might be something good material.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, for your stake hammer, so you need some
Yeah.
metal for that. Okay, so let's drop some metal into the clan bank. So we'll drop 1 and 2 into the clan bank. I'm going to keep the other ones that I've got for the time being. In terms of what's in the clan bank, that's actually all the pieces we need now for the stake hammer schematic. So that's useful.
Great.
All right. So that's the end of my turn, Fraser.
Cool, right. I am going to jump back onto the dig site to try and find fluffs again. Now that I've got my gathering up to 2, I get to roll 2 dice. And the 6 gets me, and the 9 gets me. Lovely. So I have passed the skill test. I collect vault card 12 to continue the quest. I still get my experience in gathering. And then the first quest card gets discarded and gets replaced by the continuation. So Gertrude's Cat, Part 2. You spotted Fluffs hiding under some crates, but she refuses to come out. Perhaps her favourite food might change her mind, so I need to cook some sardines to try and coax Fluffs out from her hiding place.
Okay. To my turn. So first of all, last time when I did the Witch's Potion quest, I failed to increase my defense stat, which I should do with XP over there. So let's go ahead and do that. Then now, the schematic is instead of my turn or in addition to my turn?
So I think when you're crafting weapons, I think it's in addition to Fraser.
Yeah, in addition to your turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and start the Witch's Potion again, hoping for a better result this time, because I only need a 5, which is definitely doable, and it's not doable. Oh, again, the 2. Unbelievable. The good news, though, is I do get to bump my stat up. Now that I've done that a second time, I do get to bump my stat up, which means next time I'll be rolling 2 dice. So that's going to be helpful in that sense. But that said, I will go ahead and try the schematic hammer as well, giving up the 4 materials in question and going ahead and crafting 3 dice, which I have a stat of 3, so I'm going to be rolling 2 dice on a 6+.
So it's something I'm gonna cut you off there. Sorry.
Sure.
You don't actually have those resources just now. They're still in the clan bank. You need to go and collect them.
Fair enough.
Okay, but you can do that by going to. That would have been when you did the potion.
I did the Witch's Potion instead.
Of course you did. So yes, okay. Sorry, should have caught that earlier. So next turn when you go to Falador, you can get the clan back and then do it that time.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Well, next turn I'm definitely doing that Witch's Potion. Those 2s are not forever. Your turn.
Okay, so I'm still on my way over to Tavali, so I'm going to go to Ice Mountain and I'm going to explore Ice Mountain. So this is an Edgeville exploration deck. And that is an Ice Fiend charges towards you, stand your ground and scare it off with magic. Or scare it off with magic. So I can take a melee test or a magic test. I am much better at melee, so I'm going to do that. So because my skill in
7?
Well, the reason for this is because my skill in melee is 3 at this point, which means I'm going to get to roll all 3 of those silver dice, and I have my bronze longsword as well, which can help me out throw. So because I'm going to throw 4 at it, I feel relatively confident that at least one of those will give me the 7. He says, "Is brave last words." Yeah, I do just get it on the equipment die. Okay. Okay, so no, actually don't. I fail it because my bronze longsword isn't actually sturdy enough. It says get a max result of a 6 because it's only a bronze longsword. So I can't actually even theoretically roll a 7 on it. Damn it. Okay, so I'm going to get a point of melee experience, and what was the failure for that? I'm going to suffer a wound. Okay, we were so close. Yeah, it's because I jinxed it by saying I was going to pass it.
That's exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened. Yeah. Okay, so and I can also spend some experience, resources to gain experience in cooking. How are we doing for cooking team? I think Fraser's got some cooking levels.
I'm 2 experience away from 3, which is what we need for the Wreath of Garlic campaign quest.
Sure. Okay, so I'll leave cooking to you for the time being. All right, that's my turn done then.
Okay.
So I need herbs and I need 1 more fish to cook the sardines. So I am going to, both herbs and fish are over in the Draenors. So I'm going to move back towards there. So I'm going to move to Lumbridge, which neatly allows me to spend 1 coin to gain an experience in cooking, which we will need later. And I'll pick up some logs. Does anyone need logs? Wood?
Oh, not for upgrading my bronze longsword. Yeah. Right. I think okay. We could do some spares generally in case we end up failing the schematic.
Right, that's valid, right? So I'll drop the wood in the clan bank then.
Also, I've just realised as well, I can't remember if you've taken any magic tests yet. I don't think you have, but you've got your Staff of Air as your starting item as well, Alex. So if we end up having the time later on, if we can gather some stone and wood, you can actually attempt to upgrade your Staff of Air to be a better weapon.
Cool. Okay, my turn.
Advances by 1. Yep.
I'm definitely going to resolve that Witch's Potion. We're rolling 2 dice this time. We're going to get a 5 on either one. There's no chance statistically. I've done the math. It's just impossible for us to fail. Wow.
Okay, so I think we're 2 for 2 on Tempting Fate now. We should probably stop that.
We are just. I have to do this. That's my turn. It's on to the next.
Okay.
By the way, that's my bad. We're supposed to advance escalation track twice for it. Oh, you've been managing.
I haven't got it yet.
Okay, so I'm going to step onto Goblin Village. And I think what I'm going to do, actually, is I don't have a side quest anymore. So now that I'm in Goblin Village, I'm going to use part of my turn to take the Goblin Diplomacy side quest. So we get a brand new one out. And put it down there. So Goblin Diplomacy. Generals Bentnose and Wartface can't agree on which colour their tribe should wear. Help them solve their disputes so the world doesn't have to worry about writing goblins. If this adventure is in Goblin Village, they can perform the following actions. Steal their old clothes and present them back to the generals as alternate options. Okay, so I'm going to take a thieving test. My thieving is 2, so I'm going to get to roll 3 dice at that. Okay. I'm going to make no comments whatsoever on the likelihood this is going to pass or fail.
It's going to pass.
Just rolling the bet for you both jump something. Okay, so we managed to pass the test. We get so we're going to actually get into, including the test, I'm going to get a total of 6 experience points in thieving. So it's going to throw me up 2 levels to 4. I'm going to get 2 coins, and that's me completing the side quest. Okay, so. That's my turn done.
Right, so I'm going to hop over to Draenor Village. Draw my exploration card. Dun dun dun. Count Draenor stalks the night. Now is not the time for confrontation. Fortunately, surroundings offer adequate places to hide so long as you can make use of the shadows. So you evade Count Draenor by taking thieving skill test. Complexity 3. I am not good at thieving, so that's 1 dice, and I need a 7. So.
Ooh.
Nailed it. That's what happens when you don't tempt fate. So I have avoided. There's no positive this time aside from the experience that I'll get because I've just hidden from Count Draenor, which is avoiding the negative.
That is in itself itself a positive.
Gotcha.
Because it is nasty if that goes wrong.
On my turn, I still have step 1 of the hammer, and none of the other step 1s are done.
Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
I'm going
to forage
I need to
for
finish this test.
Now it is your turn. You may fail your Witch's Potion test.
We're going to fail my Witch's Potion test. Okay, we're going to go ahead and. I'm not going to say a thing. There we go, finally. Okay, Witch's Potion, again, XP in defense. I'm going to finally gain 3 more XP in defense, which means I'm going to keep the XP I have there and go up a level, and then gain 4 coins. This is definitely statistically going to happen at some point or another. Okay, so we got our 4 coins. We can discard the Witch's Potion into, I guess, over here the side part, and that is basically now in theory. Can I grab the cook's assistant right now? Like, there's no reason not to.
You could as part of your turn. Yep.
Yep. I still have the resources for it, and I know I'm doing next turn. I'm going to say that I can't fail a test. To you, Jamie.
Loving this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep moving towards taking on that tree in Tavali. So I'm going to move through Berthorpe. Okay, so we'll advance the escalation track by 1, and we'll grab some stone resource. Okay, and I'm going to spend 1 coin to get a point in melee. I'm going to spend another coin to get a point in thieving, actually. So experience points in both of those. So 1 in melee. That will put me to level 5 in thieving. That should be probably enough, I imagine. Pretty good thief at this point. And in terms of the clan bank, I can drop in stone, flour, and metal. You need to get those for the schematic. We don't need really much of anything else. Okay, the stone is actually useful to me already in upgrading my longsword. Okay, the flour, you've actually already got everything you need for a cook's assistant, so I'll just keep all of everything I've got, and then I'll end my turn.
Perfect.
Right.
To you, Fraser.
I'm going to now hop on to Draenor Manor to get the herbs that I want and explore it again. I'll put that back. Draenor Manor. Adventurers should know better than to set foot in the manor of Count Draenor. It's a defense check, so I've got 1 defense, so it's 1 die. I only need a 4. So yeah, this one goes 8. That's good. So I will gain my defense experience. I gain a vegetable because vegetables grow and drain our mana,
They do indeed.
which I will gladly take.
Okay.
And then I will forage it for my herbs, and that's my turn.
Okay. Now to jump over to Lumbridge, what do I need exactly?
So you can teleport to Lumbridge from anywhere on the game board by spending 1 coin.
Alright, 1 coin is being spent, and I'm jumping over to Lumbridge. So I'm going to pop that down there. I'm jumping to Lumbridge, at which point I can go ahead and collect all the resources from the vault, right? Now, I do the test before. Do I do the coins, and that is only if I do... Is that in addition to my action? All the coins and things?
So grabbing from the... Oh, sorry. So that's part of exploring the capital. So when you go there, you can interact with the clan bank when you explore. You can interact with the stuff on the banner when you explore, but that would be doing something other than your test, I think.
So I have to in order to get those resources, I have to, let's say, do the cook's assistant, for instance.
Yep. So you'd have to explore to get the resources, and then you would take a quest action on your next turn instead, because that's a quest action.
Gotcha.
But you could take all the resources, like let's say. Because just that's slightly different to do in the schematic of the state hammer. Because the cook's assistant is a quest, the state hammer is just a schematic you've got for crafting something. You could do that in addition to doing something else in your turn, but a quest is a specific thing you do after you move. It's either explore or quest.
So I could theoretically do the explore right now, which is basically interacting with the region, not drawing a card but interacting. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll draw the wood. I'll dump it into the clan bank because I certainly don't need it. And then we'll put the clan. Where did I just put it? I just put my hand. We'll put that into the clan bank. And then I will pay to get those. I could pay to up some stats over there, and that's still a maximum of 3, right?
That's one. It's 1 per different type of skill icon on a capital. Because you've got a lot more different choices. Instead of being able to max out on a single one, you can do 1 in each.
Oh, so I could theoretically pay 6 coins and go up 1 in each of those stats.
Absolutely.
Okay, and do I have 6 coins? I think I do. I do have 6 coins. Let's go ahead and do so. Okay, so let's put those coins up there. And then those were, could you read them out the stats for me? It was 1 in defense.
One for defense, 1 for ranged,
okay.
1 for cooking.
Okay. And then 1 for?
1 for magic.
Okay, perfect. So a bunch of stuff. A little money's gone now, but that's fine. And then we go ahead, and I got the wood already. I claimed the resources I need for the bank, which means I actually will get that 1, just in case I fail aspect. And so we leave a wood in the bank, and then I have this, and we have a wood in the bank. I will then go ahead and attempt for the schematics hammer, where I roll 2 dice, needing a 6. And as we all know, I'm not going to say anything.
Say nothing at all.
There we go. Perfect.
That's why you got it.
The 6. I'm going to go ahead and increase my crafting stats. So I'm going to bump this up in crafting, and I successfully, let's drag that correctly, collect vault card 11, gain 2 XP, and discard this card and all the resources listed above. Now, just to be clear, that's 2 XP in addition to the default, right?
Right.
So I do get to go remove that XP and go straight up to 4. Okay.
That's
I now have a stake hammer. The adventurer may equip the stake, which I certainly will do. And I believe the schematic hammer goes away, and that's my turn.
It is. Okay.
Wow, that was a whole lot faster than my last turn. So I took 3 turns to do the single test there.
Oh, that's why we don't talk about odds. That's it. That's the first rule of Odds Club. Don't talk about odds. Also that. All right. So I am going to move to Tavali, and I just realised we should probably have put the Evergreen token down. Okay. So I'll have a read of the stake section of our campaign quest. Get a branch from the ancient Evergreen at the foot of White Wolf Mountain. Place the Evergreen token on Tavali. The first adventurer to move on to the same region as the token speaks to the tree by collecting Vault Card 5 instead of exploring. Okay. This is one of those times where for this Evergreen tree token, I'm definitely going to remind people that the graphic design is unfinished because that is not intended to be the final graphic design for Evergreen. However, I will take vault card number 5 and read it out. Okay, so my branches. As you approach the ancient tree, ready to hack off its branch, its bark slowly shifts, revealing a knot resembling the face of an elderly man. Back slowly booms a commanding voice. The day that I would allow foolhardy adventurers to part one of my limbs are gone. Find another way to slay whatever vampire needs killing. It seems you have a fight on your hands to get a branch. Collect vault cards 6 and 7, place them on the mini boss board, and Evergreen starts the fight at health 5. So we've interacted with our first mini boss, where we're going to be trying to take out Evergreen, the tree. So when a mini boss fight starts, it's on this mini boss board over here. So my adventurer is actually just going to jump off the main game board into a little instance here and have a fight with Evergreen, the tree. Additional adventurers can join me in this mini boss fight if they want to by stepping onto Tavali as well. When they do, they join me in this instance. It's actually quite beneficial to do that because the more adventurers in the mini boss fight, the more bonuses we get for all the skill tests we make in the fight because we're all teaming up and doing this together. Okay, am I going to be doing that this turn, Fraser, or am I waiting until next turn to take one of my attacks?
Yeah, you take an action this turn.
Okay, that's fine. So, when it comes around to my turn, I'm actually going to be choosing to fight the evergreen as the tree, and I basically choose one of its two behaviors to attack the tree with or to perform. So if I did needle spray, I'd be taking a defense test because it's actually shooting me with needles, and that's something, if I pass the test, it's still something useful. And then my branch lash is one of the behavior cards where we can actually cause damage to the tree. Generally, it's better if we do needle spray first, because if we can build up a number of like defensive tokens on needle spray, we can then unload them all onto the tree at once using branch lash.
Okay. And should we join you?
I think it'd be advisable to do so, yeah. So you can help me out, but it's gonna, we can also see how I get on my own. It'll probably require some help, but
I'm happy to pop on. I mean,
so
I'm just being very mindful. The last time I got advice from you guys immediately ignored it. So
that's true. That's true. So you'd actually need to. Sorry, you need to get the way to Tavali. You actually would have to join.
We have
to
get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we go into a main boss encounter, when we fight Count Drano later, one of us will step onto Drano Manor and start off the boss encounter. When it's a mini boss, this is kind of going on alongside everything else that's also going on in the exploration phase. So you could still be collecting other resources and just leaving me to fight the tree if you want to, but you also have the option of coming helping me out. It's not mandatory. Okay. So I'm going to take a defense skill test and try to handle needle spray. My current defense stat is 2, so I'm going to get to roll 2 dice at this. Okay, there's 1 and 2. And I'm going to need to roll a 6. So we got a 6 because we rolled a 10. And what that's going to allow me to do is to place an RS token onto the needle spray card. And that's important for when we resolve the branch slash card, because the more tokens on needle spray, the more damage that we can do to evergreen when we do branch slash.
And how much damage? We're trying to do 5 damage, right?
5 damage, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
The other thing to note about main boss and mini boss combats as well is that when you're taking skill tests in these combats, you don't get the extra experience points. You just kind of get a whole, because it would slow the combat down too much. So we get the experience points at the end once we've defeated the mini boss.
Okay.
So that would be back to Fraser's turn.
So you did not get an experience points for defense right now.
Correct.
Cool.
Correct.
I suppose I'll come over.
I would appreciate it.
All right, I'll jump onto Falador. Get my threads. What skills can I get? I can spend 2 coins, which are my last 2 coins, to bump myself. Get my last cooking experience to level that up.
Nice.
Escalation trap pops up, which will trigger the next campaign card.
Okay. This time, as you said to Alex, you flipped it, so you can do the honors of reading it.
Only if I play by my own rules. Blood will flow. Not satisfied with merely the inhabitants of the surrounding area for his victims, Count Gielinor now extends his bloodlust farther afield. Collect Vault card 41 and place on top of the Birthorpe exploration deck. Collect Vault card 42 and place on top of the Edgevale exploration deck.
Okay, that's been done.
So, continues to get more dangerous. And I'm not going to bother with the clan bank. I like my stuff. Over to you.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'll come join you shortly, but this first thing, I'm going to do a cook's assistance over in Lumbridge.
Sure.
So I'm going to, and speaking of which, I did grab that. Okay, cook's assistance in Lumbridge, I'll go ahead and discard the ingredients to cook a cake. I need a 4 on a single die, which, as we all know, is definitely going to happen. Yep.
That feels like cheating, saying afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get 5 experience, which effectively means I go up 2, meaning I get 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, so I remove 1 and go up 2 notches. Okay, I also get a coin. And I also get 1 more because I did the test itself, so really it's 6 experience, okay? And then I get a coin as well, and that will be that. I need to discard the resources, collect Vault card 35.
Let's get 35. Okay, so you now have the recipe for a sponge cake. So you now have the capacity to cook food for us, which is one of the ways in which we can get health back once we've lost it.
Ooh. Well, you see, I'm helping in my own way.
Yeah.
Then I can go ahead and engage with the icons again. So I could again collect wood, which I think again I'll put in the clan bank.
Your action was to do the quest.
Yep. Okay, and then your turn to you, sir, Jamie.
Okay, so meanwhile, fighting the tree, I'm going to attempt to survive another needle spray because I think building up a few tokens at once before hitting the tree is going to be a good idea. So I'm going to take another defense test and try to pass a 6. Oops, that's rolled them. And we don't pass it this time. We fail. So this is going to cause me to take
Die.
a wound. Oh, I didn't notice that. Yep, that just killed me. Okay, fair enough.
How does that play out?
That was fun.
Yeah, so I didn't notice that. Right, so in the rule book at this point, we'd consult and it would tell me to draw vault card 27 from the vault, which means I'm going to interact with death. Okay, so convince Death to give you your stuff back. An adventurer in the same region as the Death token can attempt to convince him to part with the taxed equipment cards. To this end, take a test with the complexity equal to the adventurer's death tally. So what's happened is Death has decided he's not best pleased in the way in which you've died and the speediness of which you come to see him. He's stolen one of your pieces of equipment and has run off with it. So at the bottom of the card there, it shows that I'm going to have to roll a die to find out where Death has run off to in the game world with my stuff. So... okay, that's going to be a 9, which means he has run off to Remington. Okay, so we've got the death token in Remington, and any of the adventurers, so me or any of the other adventurers, can go to Remington to interact with Death and try and steal my stuff back. I also have a tally of my deaths now, so I've been killed once. So when you've been killed, you immediately respawn on the closest capital region to where you've died. Because there are 2 capital regions close by, Burthorpe and Falador, I'm going to get to choose. I think I'm going to go closer to death and go to Falador. That also ends my turn.
Okay.
Right, so I'm going to move on to the tree. Pop over here. And
it's a bold
I'm even worse at defending than you are, so this is going to go really well. So I'm going to try and do needle spray again, but I'm only getting 1 dice. What you get? So I'll pass that, and we'll start stacking some tokens on needle spray. And that's my turn.
Okay. Okay, 1 second. I'm looking at some options here. Okay. 2 in that, 1 in that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop over. I'm going to pay a coin to pop on over to, I think, Falador as well, which will advance the... maybe I want the other location. You know what? I don't know if I'm going to go get to Burthorpe. I haven't been to Burthorpe yet. I'd like to travel the world. I'll go to Burthorpe over there, and then I'll go ahead and encounter with that. So if you want to advance the token, if you haven't already.
I have.
Perfect. I'll gain that resource shown, which is actually helpful for my questing staff over there, upgrading my staff of air. And so from there, I'll go ahead and then pay coins. How many coins do I have left? I only have 2 coins left. Or 2 coins.
The escalation track also advances. I'll pop up by 1 more because it would have advanced when you died.
That's true. Thank you, Fraser.
Oh, okay, I'm advancing those 2 skills over there. That little sword thingamajiggy, as well as the thieving. Okay, and that's going to reboot thieving down to 0. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure my defense is down to 0 as well, and I should be 1 higher. Because 3 tokens is always complete, right? Okay.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Meaning theoretically you should never have 3 tokens. As soon as you place it, you remove it.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So that's gonna be that over there, and then that means I have higher defense. That's great. And then I'm gonna head over to you next turn. But that was my turn.
Okay, so one of the things I just did whilst you were sorting your turn out is I rolled a d10 and got a 9. So when you come back to the game board, you also roll a d10 to figure out how many wounds that you've recovered. I rolled quite highly, so I've managed to recover my full health.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm actually just going to go and speak to Death because I want my sword back. So I'm going to go to Remington. I'm going to speak to Death, and it says you can, if you pass the thieving test, I can collect one of the equipment cards from under the Death card, and he's stolen my bronze longsword from earlier. So the complexity of the thieving test I need to take my sword back is 1 because that's the amount of times that I've died. However, my thieving skill is 5, so I'm definitely going to be able to roll 3 dice at that to try to get my sword back. I need an 8, however, which is quite high. See if we manage it.
Boom.
We do because we roll a 10. I get my bronze longsword back. Okay.
Now this is a good time to query. What's the loss condition?
So this is a game where when you lose, it's effectively more of a speed bump than there's a lose condition in the game. So this is very much just interacting with the world around you up until the point at which you've managed to succeed. Whenever you die against like Count Draenor or on the game board, it's going to be more of like a speed bump and other things that occur to you.
Okay.
However, I would also caution against drawing too many of these.
That is true. Yes. The longer we let the game carry on, and more of the campaign cards that come out, it's going to make it more and more difficult for us to the point where eventually we're just going to get thrown into the Count Draenor fight if we take too long getting there in the first place because the danger level has just risen too high. And that's something we don't want to happen before we've got the stake and the garlic, because that's going to make that boss fight quite difficult.
But can you lose?
You can lose the boss fight, and then you'll get you'll get thrown back onto the game board, and your rewards for completing the campaign overall will be significantly reduced if you manage to fail the boss fight completely.
Gotcha. So it's very similar to an actual MMORPG. You don't really lose; you just have to keep trying.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think that was my. Oh, I actually just interacted with death, didn't I? So I can still do more stuff with my turn, Fraser.
Yeah. You'd be probably exploring.
Sure. So I'm going to explore Remington. Take a Falador card, and we have found Count Draenor. Count Draenor stalks the night. This is not the time for a confrontation. There is no place to hide. You must flee. So I'm going to take a defense test, but I need to get a 7. Okay, so I only have defense 2. I did not get a 7. I'm going to take 2 wounds and move the escalation track up again. So I nearly died again. Luckily, I rolled highly to get my health back. Okay. However, thankfully, I do get to have an experience point in defense, which brings me up to defense 3, which will hopefully help if that happens again. Okay. And I've also got some cabbage and vegetables as well for exploring Remington.
Okay.
All
Fraser.
right, so I'm feeling like on an island now because everyone was jumping into this boss fight, and now I'm like, oh no, I have no skills to do this, so I'm just going to try and defend again. Rolling 1 dice, which I got again. So continue snacking tokens. It'll be ready for thumping when you guys get here.
You better be. I'm on a long way, and I'm just taking a long run up for the sword strike that's coming in. Don't worry.
That's my turn.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I'm going to be joining you this turn. I'm going to be heading down into Taverley, which means I'm walking over to the board over here. And that's going to be I have high defense. Should I go ahead and do the needle spray, or at this point we have a -3?
I'd probably still go and do the needle spray if you've got a high defense, because the more tokens we can stack up there, the better it's going to be. I mean, you could have a go at the branch slash.
Well, let's take a look at the branch slash. Currently reduce the complexity. So the branch slash currently has a complexity of 1, which means I'd be rolling 2 dice, and the target number would be 5. Correct?
That is true. That's true. Okay. Yes, you can have a decent go putting some wounds.
So 2 dice on a 5 is not bad, but then again, we've seen how hard it is for me to hit 5s. So maybe I take advantage of my high. And what's your sword skill?
So my melee skill is 3, and I've got my bronze longsword to help me out as well. So
I'll go ahead and spend time reducing it further to prep for your attack. Although, where are you? You're not close enough to get there right now.
So I'm going to be there in 2 turns time. Yeah.
Interesting. So I think, given that, I think I actually will go ahead and execute it, because we'll still have 2 turns to build it back up.
Correct.
Okay. So fine. So I'm going to go ahead and roll 2 dice on a target number of 5, and we're going to see what happens. I'm going to roll these over here. And we got a 6 and a 4. 1 success, remove the tokens. Okay.
We've got health down to 4.
And boom. Okay, that was my turn.
So it's for each successful die that you roll in that test there, it's going to put a wound onto.
Yeah, and I rolled a single 6.
Okay, so back to my turn. I am going to move up to Malzar's Maze.
Okay.
Draw an exploration card with Berthorpe. Oh, I keep running to Count Draenor. The people flee to the mines to escape Count Draenor, leaving you alone in the night. Run or hide. Okay, so I'm actually doing okay at both of these stats. I've got quite high thieving and quite high defense. So I'm going to take the thieving test, because that's going to be a little easier to pass, because if I fail this, I'm going to die again. So I'd rather not do that. So we'll take 3 dice, roll a 6 on at least one of them, which we don't.
Did not happen.
Cool. So Jamie's dead again. Okay, that was unexpected. So Death's going to come back. He's going to steal my bronze longsword again, because he's really unhappy at me now, and he's going to go to Black Knight's Fortress. That's quite a long way. I think I'm just going to let him have it this time. That's fine. You can keep the sword. I'm going to respawn into Berthorpe, which means I can still come and join you next turn. I just won't have my
extra sword, which I would have loved you to have.
Sword. I would have liked to have that there. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. And that is the end of my turn.
All right, let's keep stacking these tokens. So now, because there's 2 of us in the fight, my skills count as 1 higher, thanks to the table there. So I get to roll 2 dice.
And that wouldn't have affected my roll, because I was rolling 2 anyway.
That's true. It would have. Do you want to roll an extra die? Because you would have had an extra die.
Yeah, you would have, because your
No, I
skill would
would've.
have been one higher.
Oh, so I get one
Yeah.
extra for that? Okay, so then I will go ahead and roll an extra die and hopefully get a 5 or more, which I do not. Oh, wait, I do. 8. Perfect.
So you got another wound die. Nice.
So I passed the test, got a token on it, so that's me.
Okay, back to you, Alex.
Back to me. I'm going to be rolling a defense test. I have, well, my defense at this point would be, what, 5? Something like that? Defense of 5. So I roll 2 dice. So how many dice do I roll? 3?
3 dice.
3 dice. Okay. So I'm rolling 3 dice, and that should be a success. Probably 6, 6, 10. Okay, definitely. Okay.
Okay, back to me. I'm going to roll a die to see how many health I get back when I respawn, which is a 6. I think I get back 2. Okay, I'm going to respawn in Berthorpe. I'm going to move into Tavali, which jumps me into the fight.
Which means we need a target number of 5 now, because we got that extra stacking bonus.
Okay, yeah. So, and it says so +1 to all of our skills, and we also have -1 to the target number as well, because 3 of us in there now. So, so there's 2 RS tokens, which makes it complexity 2, and it makes it target number 6. But because there's 3 of us in the fight, it's actually target number 5. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to get to roll my 3 grey dice at it because I'm melee 3.
You just need 2 of them.
We need some 5s. We get 1 of them. We're getting close.
Yeah.
So he's down to 2 health. And then the RS tokens are 08. That makes it Fraser's turn.
Okay, let's keep at this. So I want to get 2 dice on my defense check, and I need
5s.
Yep.
Yeah, I do see the appeal of stacking up a ton of needle sprays. Okay.
6, got it. So we get another token.
We do. We've been slightly unlucky so far in the branch slash rolls, I think.
All good. On my turn, I'm going to go ahead and again do a defense test. I'll be rolling 3 dice. I should absolutely no chance on earth succeed. A 7, perfect. Okay.
Yes. And then back to me. Okay, so now it's going to be the same test as it was before. So I need to get 5s. And we took him down. Okay, there we go. So we got him. Right. So going back to my branches card, whenever green is defeated, collect Vault card 8, and each adventurer in the fight gains 3 experience either in defense or in melee. So you can have a choice of that, which one you'd like.
And all 3 of us are in the fight, so we all get that.
So I think I'm going to do 3 more in melee because that seems to be what I'm.
Yeah, I'm weak in melee as well, so I'm going to go the same as well. Okay.
Okay, and it was Vault card number 8, wasn't it? So that is the stake. Okay, so a wooden stake capable of halting a vampire's regenerative abilities. This equipment can only be equipped by an adventurer who is also equipped with the stake hammer. Okay, so at the moment we have that. We're all actually technically in the same place because we've all just been booted back out onto Tavali. We're now back on the main game board. And because we're in the same region, we can decide who has the stake between us at the moment. Now, you have the stake hammer, so I may as well give it for you to the time being, and we can decide later on who's going to be the best.
Can I give you the stake hammer, or
you can? Yeah, you absolutely can during your turn. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Fraser.
Yeah, that was your turn. So back to me. Okay, what have we got left to do? We've got the steak. We just have to cook the garlic.
That's
do we
it.
put a token on acquire the stake?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Perfect. Okay.
So it is Alex with the recipe, I think, or Alex with cooking.
I have the cooking skill.
I also have the cooking skill, so
You can
Okay.
both take it. Just see who passes it.
It's just anyone can just take it right now.
Yeah. So the text on Wreath of Garlic: vampires are somewhat weakened if they can smell garlic. An adventurer with cooking skill 3 or more can collect Vault card 3. So you don't have to be in a particular region. You can just decide you're going to cook a Wreath of Garlic.
So go ahead and grab it.
and since we're in the same region at the moment, we can freely trade whatever we want.
Okay.
Besides side quests between us.
Sadly, I don't have any of the required resources.
I have 1 vegetable and 1 thread, so we need some more vegetables. So
Yep.
I think I'm going to start heading down towards
Remington.
Remington to get some vegetables.
Yeah.
So I have some vegetables as well, by the way.
Oh, sweet. So I'll take a vegetable off you.
So I can head down to Falder to get that other resource if we need it.
It's not a terrible idea in case I fail.
Or
So
do you,
I'm
oh, you
gonna
have it.
go-
Right? Oh, if you have it, then that's fine. Then just go focus on the vegetables because then we can just
So-
double up. And
No,
get
so
back to
let's need 1 vegetable. So I'm going to move through Melzar's Maze and explore it. Melzar's Maze. The magics of Melzar sometimes catch careless travelers off guard. It's a thieving test. I do not have good thieving, so I'm rolling 1 die. I'm looking for 7. Not good enough. I suffer a wound.
Okay.
I don't want any crafting, so that's my turn.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, interesting. Okay, fine. So let's see. In that case, if you're pretty comfortable on that, I'm gonna go ahead and give the stake and the stake hammer over to Jamie because you have a higher attacking skill. Although you also die a lot, so maybe it's not the best idea. Okay. Then we have. Let's see. I could go up to Berthop. I could go to get more defense. It looks like no matter what I do, unless I spend a coin, which I don't have, I'm gonna be. I could get onto Falador's Maze, but I don't need to. I don't have the coins though. I think I'm going to go ahead and head down to Falador's Maze. I'm not thrilled with it. I don't love the option, but let's do it. Alright, Falador's Maze. I will go ahead and draw a red card over here, flipping it and looking at Melzo's Maze. The producer might be edible if the strange magics could be distilled from it. Gain an ingredient of your choice. Oh, that's useful. That's very useful. So I'm going to do a wizard test, and I could go ahead and add a skill test to that. So I'm going to add the orange die to that test, which is I'm rolling 3 dice, and I have to get a 8 or more. So that 8 or more is a little more irritating, but we can do it. I don't think the odds are indefeatable here, so I will not say anything. And we have a 7, 1, and a 3.
It decided you spoke too soon because you said about the belts beforehand. That's it.
Yep.
Okay. So you got the experience points in magic.
Yes, I do. Okay, that's my turn. I'm going to choose not to give up resources to expend my crafting as well. All right.
So we still need some thread, don't we, between us? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Falador because exploring Falador will get us some thread, which I'm immediately going to put into the clan bank. Just down here. Okay, and then I am going to spend. What do I want? Do I want any crafting? Nope. I don't want crafting. I don't want gathering or cooking. I am terrible at all of these things. Okay, so I'm actually not going to spend any gold at all on that stuff because I think you guys have got it handled, which means my turn is done once I've done the escalation track.
Right, I'll pop down to Roomington, explore it. Roomington, a merchant needs 4 candles to sell to a heavily accented customer. This is gathering, complexity 1, I need an 8, so I do get to roll 3 dice on this.
Okay.
Still fairly difficult.
I should have rolled an extra die last time.
9, get it on the 9.
For what, sir?
For my red test over here, I believe I have above, so I should have rolled 3 dice and then my extra, not 2 on my extra. Melzar's Maze.
Magic. Yes, you're right. You're right. You should be on magic 2. For some
Okay.
reason with magic 1, that's why. You should be on 2.
Wait. Why should I be on magic 2? Sorry.
Because you, I think you're on. I'm pretty sure. I think as we've been moving around the game board, I think we've been scrolling around the different levels on your board. You should have been on 2 to start off with. I think. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You would have had an extra die for that.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so let me just roll an extra die on that. It's still unlikely, but let's find out. Yep, perfect. Okay, cool.
So I passed that test. So I got gathering experience. The reward was draw from the item deck. So this is the item deck over here. We've not interacted with this yet. This you'll primarily gain items through successfully completing boss fights. You can also get them by buying them at the Grand Exchange, or if an exploration card or a quest reward happens to give you one. So we draw this and it's more usually more equipment. It can be other things. I have gotten Expert Smith's Hammer, so I get to add the equipment dice to crafting tests. Nice. I'll take it.
Nice.
And then I get my vegetable for having explored Roomington. And now that I have 3 vegetables and a thread, I can attempt to make the garlic wreath. So that is, the skill test is complexity 3 in cooking, which I have, so 2 dice, and target number 6. So I am looking for a 6. Let's go.
Nailed it.
Nice.
Cool. So I have succeeded that test. And I collect Vault Card 4, gain 2 cooking experience plus the 1 that I gained, so 3 in total, and discard that card plus all of the resources. So that goes away.
Okay. On my turn, I'm going to go ahead and follow you. Drawing another quest card as well from that region. Flipping it over, and we are in, what's the location? We're in Roomington. Oh, Falador. what's this? The crafters rally to prepare defense against the rampaging vampire. Buy them some time by misleading Crown Draenor. So I can either do cooking on a 5, which I think I will, because I think 2 dice on a 5 is better. So I have 3 on cooking, which means I will be doing 2 dice on a 5. So we're going to go ahead and roll these. And we have an 8. Perfect. So I get 2 resources of our choice. Anyone want any particular resources? If not, I'll just grab some sponge cake stuff, because apparently people are dying here.
Yeah, probably get sponge cake, because I think we need to heal.
Okay, so I think the we was, you, but we'll go with it. Okay, ingredients, I'll go ahead and grab. I have the cherries, so I just need flour and, whatchamacallit, flour and egg.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll go ahead and take the resource as well, because I'm in that region. And also I took a cooking action, which means I get 1 experience cooking, which means my cooking level to 4. Alright, my turn's done. I will go ahead and take care of this cleanup stuff.
Okay, so I've just realised when we look over at the campaign board, we've actually filled all of the different objectives now, so that whenever we want to, we can move over to Draenor Manor and actually kick off the boss fight with Count Draenor. We have all the equipment we need to fight him. So it has some recommended skill levels here. So we should, between us, have at least melee 3, which I have. We should have at least range 3. Somebody, how you doing? Range over there?
I'm 1 experience away from range 3.
So we wanted to get you up there. We also recommend having magic 3, which you're quite close to, Alex. And crafting 3, which we definitely have because you've got that already. Okay, so we probably want to spend a little bit more time getting some levels up before we go into the boss fight. In terms of what I'm going to do, though, I probably want I could probably go and try and get my sword back, I suppose. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to spend 1 gold to teleport over to Edgeville, explore Edgeville, which gets me some metal. And I'm going to spend
our token.
It does, thank you. So have you done that, or do I need to do that?
I did not do it.
Okay, you didn't do it. Okay, so I'll still that in a second. So I'll what was I doing now? I was getting experience point in defense. Useful, and I'm actually only 1 away from getting level 3 in ranged, so I'm going to do that as well. So I'll get to a level 3 in ranged. So there's more of us that are all there. Also, there leaves me with 1 coin. In terms of the clan bank, I want to try and upgrade my sword, I think, once I've got it. So that would take me, I've got metal, stone, I would need leather. Okay, so do we have any leather in the clan bank by any chance? We do not. Okay, that's fine, never mind. I think, though, that you're gathering the ingredients generally for cooking things, so I'm going to throw my flour into the clan bank in case that's useful later on. And that's me done.
Alright, so what I actually want to do is teleport to Edgeville to gain ranged experience, or get closer to the excited to do my quest, but I have no money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just farm it out of Remington and just gamble on the exploration card. So I'm going to explore Remington. Random event. Okay. We haven't encountered these yet. The exploration cards are themed around the different provinces. So when you're in Remington, you'll get something that's themed around Remington, etc. Random events can be anything. It can be visited by an NPC. It could be literally anything, and it could happen anywhere.
Yeah. So a good example of this would be the Sandwich Lady. So one of the things they used to have in RuneScape, because it's like a 20-year-old video game at this point, they used to have a lot of problem with bots. They would have these anti-macro events where a random NPC would kidnap you and ask you a question. Okay. And if you didn't answer the question, or if you gave a wrong answer, then they start banning your account as you're a bot. These characters kind of just became famous over time for randomly abducting players from the game. So the Sandwich Lady is an example of a player you can run into now. She doesn't serve the same purpose as she used to do, because they've got much better way of handling bots. But the Sandwich Lady is still like a popular fan favorite character. Who did we run into, Fraser?
I'm just about to find out.
Yep.
The noob. Give coins for sword, please. The goateed man says, with a blank expression on his default features. You may take him up on his offer by discarding 2 coins. If you do, collect vault card 33 and remove this card from the game. I have no money, so I can't take the noob up on his offer. So that card will just, I'll find a place to sit it.
Okay.
I will never know what vault card 33 is.
We can take a sneaky look at it later. Okay.
You can gain the resource.
Yep. So I've explored it, so I gain some vegetables.
Okay. I'm going to wander over to Port Sarim over here, and I will go ahead and explore that region. And let's flip that card. And we have Port Sarim. Sailors arriving in Port Sarim can be convinced to part with trinkets they found on their voyage. Roll on 2. I have 2, so I get to roll 2 dice over there. And I'm trying to get a 8. That is an ambitious target number. I'm never going to make it. Boom. See, that's the trick. That's the trick.
Reverse psychology.
Okay, exactly. Okay. So I go ahead and gain an item from the item deck, which that one you had looked pretty cool. Let's see what I got. Fighter's Torso. You may gain an additional defense and XP when exploring capital regions. Ooh, just like every time I walk into a capital region, I just get 2 in those XP.
Where is it?
The Fighter's Torso down here. Whenever I walk into a capital, I just get 2 stats.
You need to pay for them.
Okay, so I do need. If I pay for them, I get them again.
So it's like if you, let's say you explored Lumbridge, you can spend 2 coins to get 1 experience in defense. You could spend an additional 2 coins to get an additional experience.
It's not as exciting, but I'll still take it. Okay, that's the Fighter's Torso, and then I also can go ahead and get the what's it called, the cherry, which will be helping for crafting. And now I could go ahead and craft if I want as well. Right, that's an extra action. Is it?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and discard these resources. 1 and 2. Whoops, dragging the screen instead. 2 and 3. Those are going to be the 3 resources I need to craft. I'll roll. I have 4 in cooking, so I roll 3 dice. And I will go ahead and roll 3 dice on cooking. And I need to get a 0. That's going to be pretty darn certain. You gain 1 cooked food and discard all the ingredients, which I already did. So cooked food. And now what does the cooked food do exactly?
So it's on your character sheet over here. So if you look at your character sheet, it says you may discard a cooked food token at the beginning of your turn to heal a wound. Cooked food cannot be eaten during a boss fight. Okay. So there's 2 types of food. Basically, there's food for on the main game board in the exploration phase, and there's food from the boss fight in the boss encounter phase.
Great. That's my turn. Still trying to get my wizard staff, but just farming around for it.
It's time for my second meeting with death. So I'm going to go to the Black Knight's Fortress, and I'm going to take that thieving skill test to get my sword back once again. I need an 8. I managed to get it, so I've got my bronze longsword back. Okay, in addition to that, I'm going to explore the Black Knight's Fortress, so we'll take an Edgeville exploration card. And I found Count Draenor yet again. Okay, so Edgeville Monastery provides a sanctuary from the Vampire's Rampage for those that can get inside before nightfall. So I can take a gathering test, but I'm not particularly good at gathering, or I can take a defense test. I am a bit better at defense, yeah, so I can take...
Again, aren't you?
I really hope not. I really hope not. I'm just tanking these hits for everyone at the moment. Okay, so let's take this defense test and get a 7.
Oh, can you just come to me and get cooked food? Because I'm...
You're just come up here and have some food.
I gave you the hammer, okay?
Yeah. Okay, so I gain an additional experience in the defense, in the skill tested, which is handy. So that actually puts me up to defense level 4. Okay. And that... I can also gain some more experience in thieving if I want to, but I'm already thieving 5, so I'm going to leave that alone. All right, that is my turn done.
All right, so I'm giving up on my farming gold plan. I'm just going to go via the Valador and accept the fact that I'm going to raise the exploration escalation track high and give us another campaign card.
We're already at the top again. Wow.
Yeah, so I want to stand there, gain my thread. I don't need any of the things there, so I'll just move this up by 1, resets to the bottom.
Does this mean we're to encounter him automatically?
Not quite. We'll turn the card over and have a look at it.
Escalating Carnage. The longer Count Draenor is allowed to continue his reign of blood and terror, the more innocent victims he claims. After this card has been drawn, each time the escalation track is reset, place an RS token on this card. When the 3rd token is placed on this card, the adventurers must immediately fight Count Draenor. At the end of the campaign, add +2 to this card's peril level for each token on it. So that number in the top corner, whichever the last card drawn is the campaign's peril level. When you finish a campaign, take note of the peril level and do so for each subsequent campaign. At the end of the full core game, add them all together, and that will be the total peril level of your playthrough. And then your ending will depend on what your peril level is. So you can get better or worse narrative endings depending on how long you've taken, how well you've done through the campaigns.
So you could complete the game and be like, yes, we completed the game. But there wasn't really much of a world left to save. It's all burnt and down to ashes and everything's crumbled. Or you could have a version where you've managed to complete the game and everything is fine and everything's dandy. You've saved the whole world and everyone's alive still. So there's different levels of success. Okay. The immediate effect for us right now is that each time that escalation track fills up, we're going to put a token on the card. Once we fill the escalation track the third time, that's when we're going to get automatically jumped into the boss fight, whether we're ready for it or not.
Okay.
Which isn't too bad because we've got the items, but for people taking longer than us or people that have decided to like engage with the open world a bit more, then that might be a problem. Okay, so that was Fraser's turn, right?
Yep.
My turn. I'm not going to invest per level. I'm just going to wander back and forth between Remington. Actually, I'll just stay where I am because I don't mind getting this cherry. So I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to draw another card over here, which is the last card in that deck. And we're going to go ahead and have Falador. A Grand Gate is... Does it say 9? It says 9 on this card, right?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
A Grand Gate is jammed shut and won't be forced open. Wait for someone from the crafting guild or fix it yourself. Repair the gate. I just need 1. And if I fail, I advance the escalation track. I think that I can go ahead and do that with a single die. So we're going to go ahead and get a 6 over there, which is not a 6. We're going to advance the escalation track. That's unfortunate. Okay, what's the upside to doing this?
So the fact that you've gotten through and repaired the gate, I think that one we probably need to add a positive to that one, Fraser, once we continue development of this game after the Kickstarter. Like you've repaired a gate. That's a pretty monumental thing to have done.
Was there any reason for you to have taken that test?
To not advance the escalation track.
Yeah.
So, like, part of the design of these is we know at this point, like, you've figured it out definitely, that if you stand on a province, we're not going to advance the escalation track. It's safe. So there's got to be some cards in there that like might advance it if you just hang around and try to hide in a corner.
Gotcha.
And so you're never totally safe from the advancing of time, the relentless march of time.
I still grab that token's locked in place. I'll grab the token and I'll grab the cherry, and that was my turn.
Okay, so I think I've got all the stats that I need at this point. Is anybody else looking for anything in particular? Because if not, then I think I'm going to start making my way to the Grand Exchange to try and get those last bits of items to make my bronze longsword better. Okay, right. In fact, I can do it better than that. So I'm going to spend my last coin. I'm going to teleport from Black Knight's Fortress to Varrock. That is going to up the escalation track by 1. I'm going to explore that so I can have some leather. That's what I need for my sword. And I don't have any gold to pay for extra experience, but that's all I really needed. So at this point, I could take a crafting test to try to improve my longsword. If I do that, though, I'm not likely to pass it because I'm not good at crafting. So what I think I'll do is I'll bring that sword and the resources to you, Alex. And I'll probably transfer all of them to you so you can upgrade my sword for me if that's okay. But for the time being, I'm done.
Okay.
Right, I'm going to make my way to the Barbarian Village. Have we shuffled this deck?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Who do we find? Barbarian Village. Show your skill in ranged combat or prepare to defend yourself against skeptical barbarians. So it's a range test. Excellent. That's what I'm after anyway. Skill 2. So I get 2 dice. Yep. And I'm looking for a 7. My shortbow. Maximum result in the shortbow is 6, so I don't get I can roll the equipment die, but it can't possibly help me pass. 9 passes. So I will. The reward for that one is 3 coins. Lovely. Again, my 3rd experience in range to level that up. Also very lovely.
Nice.
I'm then going to spend thread, cabbage, and egg to get another 3 experience in ranged from the scaling point to get myself to 4, and call that a successful turn.
Okay.
That's me.
I'm going to continue to stay where I am. I'm going to go ahead and draw a card, and I will flip it to gain Falador. The crafters rally to prepare defense against the rampaging vampire. Ooh, gain resource of your choice. That could be helpful. I'm going to go ahead and take the skill test for cooking, because I'll roll 4 dice for that one, I believe. 4 dice. 3 dice. 3 dice for it.
3 dice.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and cook, and we got at least 1 5. Perfect, which means we are good to go. I gain experience in cooking, and I gain 2 resources of my choice. Do I have any particular resource I care about? I don't know if I do. Just more. The Staff of Air. Yeah, that's reasonable. So I'll go ahead and gain 1 of each of those. And now that is... is that a crafting action or a dedicated action?
That's crafting. So you could spend the rest of your turn trying to upgrade that if you want to.
Let me first grab the extra cherry over there. We'll grab the cherries, and then I'll go ahead and I will try to craft the air thingy majiggy. So I roll 3 dice because I have at least 3 in crafting. I need to get at least a 6. So I'm going to go ahead and roll those 3 dice. And we got an 8, which means I do upgrade my Staff of Air to what? To collect Vault Card 21.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is going to be an Air Battle Staff. So there is your new staff card. There you go. So the difference between these two basically is that you can use this Air Battle Staff on higher complexity magic tests now.
Okay. I know this is still caps out at 7, which is very disheartening, but that's okay. And it's your turn.
Okay. So I think what would be quite handy actually is I think it's looking like I'm probably going to be using the stake and the stake hammer in the fight with Count Draenor, which means I've just realized that my bronze longsword wouldn't be useful anyway because I can only hold 2 things in my hands. Okay. So I think what I might end up doing is going to the Grand Exchange and exchanging the resources I've got to help Fraser to get your wooden short bow upgraded.
Smart.
Okay, so what do we need? We've got thread and we've got wood in the clan bank already, which means that we need metal and another thread. Okay, so I'm just going to drop a metal into the clan bank that I already have. And then let's go and have a look at how the Grand Exchange works. So let's move to the Grand Exchange. So the Grand Exchange is a particularly special location on the board because the Grand Exchange in the video games is where players quite literally have open free trade with each other. So it's where a lot of the items in the game and in-game economy happens and you buy and sell stuff with each other. So to represent the Grand Exchange, once you're there, instead of taking a quest action or exploring, then you can track the Grand Exchange and you can either buy additional resources for 2 gold each or 2 coins for any resource in the game. You can sell any resource you've got for 1 coin in return, or you can trade any resource you have for any other resource. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to trade the leather that I found for, was it, you need thread was the other one you wanted, Fraser?
I need 2 threads, wood and metal. Okay,
so there's 1 thread and a metal and a wood in the clan bank already, so I've got another thread for us to use later on. That, however, advances the escalation track by 1 to use the Grand Exchange. So that is my turn done.
Right. Will I come and meet you?
So you could probably make your way to Falador.
Yeah.
And then I can just meet you there later on, I suppose. And then we can make our way to Draenor Manor once we've done that.
Yeah, I guess if I go to Falador, you can then just teleport over. And
Yeah.
And then
let's pretend during my turn, I'm going to cheat this slightly. Let's pretend during my turn I sold my other metal for a coin, as because I was really clever about this and was like, I need some coins to be able to teleport.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I'll move over there. I'll get the thread. Do I want to spend my money? Not really. I like my money. So I'll advance this by 1, and that's me.
Oh, you can get all the stuff out of the clan bank as well.
Yes.
You now have all the stuff for your short vouchers.
Sensible. Let's do that. I guess I may as well. Not in my turn and actually try to. I'll leave the flower.
Okay.
So I'm going to attempt. I'm going to attempt to, since I've got the stuff.
Sure, and you've got your smith hammer anyway to help you out.
Yeah, I think is my crafting okay?
No,
I can't remember.
You got your smith hammer though.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it anyway. So I got my smith hammer, and I think it's just the 1 die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, I've selected too many dice. Looking for 6s.
Boom.
I was intending to roll the bottom 2, which I got.
Yeah.
So I'll upgrade my bow, discarding all the resources.
So you have an oak short bow.
Who will be named Okay. Okay.
Okay, my turn is going to follow the fairly scripted pattern of doing the same action there. Because the problem is I need a coin to be able to transport somewhere. I don't want to advance the escalation track otherwise. So I'm just going to... Go ahead.
Sure.
You're saying?
No, I was going to say, you don't have to have a coin to just travel into Falador like walking there.
No, I know, but Falador doesn't help me get my wizard stat. I'd have to travel down to one of the other locations. In fact, only Lumbridge looks to me. Lumbridge or Bolthar. See, gotcha. And the problem is with those I need coins anyway. So I'm really trying to get down to the wizard's tower. So maybe I just go ahead. Nah, I'm gonna take a quest action. I'm hoping for the best over here. Okay, we're gonna take a quest action, staying where I am, and we get a random event. I believe so. Is that the random event, or am I in Port Sarim?
That's correct. That's correct.
No, I'm in Port Sarim. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Hey, clearance to sailor, but I get coins. That will help me. Well, I don't get coins yet. I try to roll a die on a 7+ and get coins, because I don't have that stat. So I'm gonna roll a die on a 7+, and we got a 4. So I don't get anything. There's no failure event, but I do get that. and then I go ahead and get a cherry again, which I'm stocking up on. Okay.
Stocking up on cherries. Okay, so I'm going to spend my coin to teleport into Falador. Once I'm there, I'm going to increase the escalation track by 1, and I will get some thread for exploring it. And I don't have any of the gold, so I can't. I can't get any more experience. Is there anything, you've now done your workshop, haven't you? So what we're really trying to do at this point is get some more magic experience onto Alex, aren't we? Okay, cool. Sure. That's my turn done.
Yeah, let's pretend that when I explored that, I dumped some coins in the clan bank.
The clan bank. Yeah.
Because that'll help Alex.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So what you could do is you could walk to Falador, explore it, get the coins, and then teleport somewhere with a magic experience.
Yep.
Symbol. Okay. So it's well, it actually is your turn now.
Sure.
You could do that anyway.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk off of. I'm just going to like prepare ourselves for the Count Raynor fight.
I think you probably. Oh yeah, you could go to Lumbridge. That's fine. Yeah.
So I'm going to go there and then see what we got in Lumbridge. Draenor Manor. The undead roam the halls of Draenor Manor. I can take. Great. I'm an archer and I've got a choice between melee and magic. So I guess I'm rolling 1 dice either way. I'm going to attempt the melee attack.
Apparently, you have two dice for magic, but it's still...
So he's in a dangerous region because there's a danger token there. He'll always be reduced by 1 to a minimum of 1, no matter what he rolls.
So I'm going for the melee one, looking for 6s,
Boom.
Which I get. So I gain a coin and a melee experience.
Okay.
And I'll take my herbs because I've explored Draenor Manor, and that's me.
So my turn, I'll walk over to Falador. Well, I'll be able to grab things from the bank over there, so I'll grab those 2 coins. Now the problem is, there's no problem. I'll be able to next turn I'll teleport to Lumbridge. Now first of all, we go ahead and we advance this up on the escalation track, which isn't the bestest. I do gain that particular resource, but then that ends my turn. Where is that resource? It's over here. There's 2s on the other side. I'll grab this 2. There's got to be one somewhere on the sidebar. Is there? No. Do we have all those tokens expended?
What are you looking for? Sorry.
The main resource of what's it called? The Falador.
Thread. Yeah, I think we've got quite a few of those out already.
Oh, there's a bunch over. There's a bunch over by me because I just upgraded my bow. So
okay, gotcha. So I'll grab one.
Whilst you're there, would you mind passing me that cooked food you've got so I can stop dying?
Absolutely, I would love to pass you the cooked food. Well, I'll put it in the bank because you're using it, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so your turn.
Okay, so my turn. Because I keep dying, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to stay and explore Falador once again, and I'm going to take that cooked food out of the clan bank, and I'm going to eat said cooked food and get my health back. Okay. We advance the escalation track by 1, which jumps onto Escalate Carnage, and I get some thread. We have lots of thread now. And that's my turn done.
Okay.
Fraser?
Right, I'm just gonna chill in Draenor Manor before we.
So you want to explore it?
Yeah. Random event.
Okay.
Yeah, draw 1 for me.
Sure. You've got still minutes to Count Draenor.
Tremendous. Count Draenor is looking for his next meal. Sight him offer might be you. So I can't take raise this time. I would normally be rolling 3 dice, but I am actually only rolling 2 because I'm in a dangerous region. But my oak sharp bow can help me with this.
Yep.
So I get 3 dice, including the equipment die.
Hoping for a 6. Boom.
Forget.
Easy done. Just. So I've avoided Count Draenor, and I'll gain my experience in ranged, which I will take. And I'll also continue managing my herb garden.
Okay.
Hey,
So my turn. I'm going to teleport. I'm going to have to advance escalation, but I'm going to be teleporting down to to Lumbridge, where I'll spend a coin. So I'm spending a coin teleport and spending a coin to up my wizard stat. So we're officially finally at the 3rd level of wizardry.
Nice.
And then we are going to I get a wood as well, which I'll go ahead and just dump into the clan bank because I don't have a need for it myself. Speaking of which, I'm going to throw a cherry or 2 in there because I can't imagine I need 4 cherries. So if anyone just wants to grab resources, even just for skills or stuff, that's fine. And that's my turn.
Okay, I think at this point we're probably ready for the Count Draenor boss fight. Do you agree, team?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to step onto Draenor Manor, and then we're going to kick off the Count Draenor boss fight. So it's just going to take me and Fraser a moment to set up for the boss fights, because this is actually going to take place on the reverse side of the campaign board.
Ooh, fun.
Okay. So just while we're setting this up, actually, it's probably a good time, Alex. Do you want to tell us what you think about the game so far that we've done?
Sure. So I haven't played RuneScape in general, like I mentioned already. So the thematic connections to the specific game, it is what it is in terms of that sense. I'm not getting those. I appreciate some general aspects of like even just the noob card, like just from playing video games and whatnot. The game itself is incredibly accessible in terms of what it's doing, in terms of just being. It's fairly easy to dive in and get up and running. And I always appreciate fail forward in terms of generally just always having those little skill tracks tip up in general. I'd love to see some degree of side quest rotation. Like the side quests are a fun little thing that you can get nice large boosts for, but then sometimes they just get stuck in a bit of a none of these are particularly useful at the moment. So if there's some way to like purge them or whatever it was, even if when you went into a capital city, you had the opportunity to pay a coin to like cycle the side quest track. I don't know what the options are. Just sometimes they like I was looking for magic, for instance. The past few turns was a cycle of me being stuck on that, and I had no coins, and I had that limitation there to a degree. So that would be something nice to see. But I do like the little like again going back to playing MMORPGs. You're like everything you do is helping you a little bit, but then you just suddenly get 700 experience because you just deliver the little child across the river or whatever it is. So it has that MMORPG feel. In general, and this is where you start diverging into the things I particularly like in games versus potentially the target audience for this game, and also, well, it's a double-sided sword because one of the strengths of this right now is how accessible it is, because I like things that would give me more reasons of why I'm different. Like I have my air battle staff, that's great, but like I love having my own, let's say for instance, it's a good example is Bardsung is from you guys is a game that has a lot more uniqueness to each individual character, which I'm not necessarily seeing that in this particular in RuneScape, at least not yet. The downside of that is Bardsung has significantly higher barrier to entry in terms of the skill levels. So some of this might just come down to who it's designed around in terms of the target audience and the complexity involved. Right now, it's very accessible. It's rewarding. It's a little on the light side for sure. And the fact that there's no failure is a I have to figure out how I feel about that one because there's no way to lose. But it's also like we are trying to move forward. So I still have the sense of trying. I don't have a sense of being aimless. I do have a sense of progression, a sense of trying to accomplish things. So I don't think it bothers me, but I need more time with it. I like the boss fights were fun. I'd like to see more of how those play out. I appreciated it's not a ton of intricacy, but I appreciated the aspect of having a different twist to how a boss fight interrupts the flow of the game, the escalation track. Overall, it's on the light side, but it's fairly accessible and rewarding for where it's trying to be, at least from my sense of it.
Thank you. Yeah, really appreciate that. You're absolutely right in terms of the accessibility, but because this is very much aimed at as much as possible at the RuneScape video game fan audiences. As we understand that we'll probably pick up a number of people that just enjoy video games that have some memory of RuneScape as well from when they played it in their childhood. Like that's definitely where I fall in that demographic, where I'm someone that played it as a teenager. But we're trying to hit those people and the people that will currently play the video game that haven't got as much experience of board games. That accessibility factor is really important for us when building this game. So I'm kind of glad that's coming through, even though I understand that obviously as yourself as someone that enjoys possibly board games a little bit more bells and whistles to them, that this might not necessarily be like a perfect experience for yourself. So but it's like, still good to talk
on
about
my end. This is the kind of thing I like. It's a great type of thing to throw in to like introduce my kids to like my children who are like various ages, anyway from 6 to like 11. It's the kind of thing that's a good intro to, like, for instance, using Bardsung as an example. I tried diving into Bardsung with my 6-year-old who loves games, and it was a little much for him. Like he liked the concept, but it was a little too much for his accessibility. Versus this is the kind of thing I'd enjoy this solo even, diving into controlling 2 or 3 characters. I'd also enjoy playing it with my kids and or gateway gamers to a degree. Versus less the kind of thing I'm likely to pull out with my heavier game group. There I might be playing Gloomhaven or some other game.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. Right, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so I think we're about ready to go with the boss fight now. Yep. So one of the things that you can do before you go into the boss encounter is you've got kind of one more chance to just trade equipment with each other to make sure that you've got the correct piece of equipment on each person. So one of the things that we've done here is we've just taken the Expert Smith's Hammer from Fraser and given it to you because you have that really high crafting level, because it recommended to us on the campaign board to have a person with high crafting level. That's probably going to be relevant for us during the fight.
We'll also notice that Perkins has the high thieving level because that's exactly what he just did to my hammer.
That also true. Also true. You're welcome. You see, now that was so smooth as we transitioned into that. I think it probably makes sense for me to keep the stake and the stake hammer because I have the high melee stats. Obviously, you've got your battle staff, and Fraser has his oak shortbow and the wreath of garlic. We didn't say much about the wreath of garlic earlier, so we're just gonna have a little look at that one just before we go into the boss fight because it's one of the campaign equipment pieces we picked up on along the way. A valuable tool in the slaying of vampires. When an adventurer takes a skill test from being attacked by Count Draenor, they may re-roll a die of their choice. So how this boss fight's going to work is that we're still using our same skill levels in terms of taking skill tests for how we're going to attack Count Draenor and how we defend ourselves. So when he attacks us, those are going to be defense skill tests. And obviously, when we attack Count Draenor, those are going to be, say, like magic, ranged, or melee skill tests. Now, one of the things that was important for us about the boss fights for RuneScape Kingdoms is that instead of the sort of the zoomed out fast travel style map that we planned for most of the game, this is very much zoomed into a room level scenario. So we're now in the crypt of Count Draenor, the crypt of Draenor Manor, and we're actually having this fight in a room level. So some of the similar lessons apply and rules apply in terms of how we take our turns. You can move up to one space on the boss board. So say if I was moving my knight, I can move to one of these spaces nearby. You can't move diagonally because that just makes the boss board feel a little bit larger. Once I've moved, I can then pick one of my skills from this list of boss actions down here for the Count Draenor reference sheet. So it tells me if I take a melee test that those are the numbers I need to roll in terms of causing damage to him. Made a little bit easier for me because I've got the stake. Obviously, ranged and magic can still damage Count Draenor. But at the bottom here, we have some of our other skills are also useful in a boss fight because we wanted to make sure that all of the skills that you're playing in RuneScape are going to be useful in at least one boss fight or another. So in this instance, that sleight of hand element at the bottom there is probably going to be something I try at some point during the fight, where it says one adventurer or behavior card may be moved one slot left or right on the initiative track for each successful die. Now, you mentioned playing Bardsong earlier, so you may remember the initiative track from Bardsong. But for those who haven't played Bardsong, that is each adventurer in the game has an initiative card on the track, interspaced with behavior cards for Count Draenor. We're going to go from left to right on the track, and that's going to tell us what our turn order is. So it'll be the archer first, then it'll be Count Draenor, and then the knight, which is me, then Count Draenor, and so on. Once we've finished going through the initiative track, we'll pick these cards up, shuffle them, and relay them again. That's going to be our turn order for successive rounds. Okay. So that sleight of hand ability with thieving there to shift behavior cards and initiative cards left and right to be able to change the turn order from one to the other. And it also changes who Count Draenor is going to be targeting as well, because his targeting is dependent upon the initiative cards to his left and right.
Okay.
So it's actually really well situated here for Fraser to give us a bit of an introduction to how we've set up the boss fight and then take the first turn. If you want to take it away, Fraser.
Yes, so when we set up the boss fight, Count Draenor always goes in the middle because he's in his coffin, and then whoever's got the highest crafting also goes in the middle because they've pried open his coffin and he's jumped out of it. And then everyone else gets to place themselves on different squares as they choose. You see there's some cards sitting on the battleground. Mm-hmm. We've got 4 bones cards in the corners and a coffin. Those are terrain cards, and they provide special rules to the space that they're in. So if we have a quick look at Bones card, it says adventurers in this space can never roll more than 1 die when taking a melee or defense skill test. So they're harder. We don't want to fight him in those spaces. Mm-hmm. And then the coffin terrain, the coffin is if Count Draenor is in the space and the end phase he heals a wound. So we want to kind of ideally make sure that he doesn't end the round there, because he heals in proximity to his coffin.
And also he takes a limit of 1 wound.
Yeah. So I'll go first, and what am I going to do? Can only do 1 wound to him because he's in there. I don't particularly want to move on to a bones card. Mm-hmm. I also don't want to move him too far away. The next card that's going to come up is quite nasty. So I don't know if there's any way to get to avoid that one. So what I'm going to do is...
it worth reading the terrain?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a utility action.
You would need 2 successes to bump him off, but it would make it easier for us to kill him.
So you could adjust it so that I take a turn before that bloodlust happens, or perhaps shift some people around. I think he's going to... So when he goes for the closest adventurer, that means he's going to be coming for you, right? Because it's the closest adventurer on the initiative track. Yeah. Okay.
Now, out of curiosity, if you shift Bloodlust to the left, does that mean we skipped Bloodlust?
No, it works the same as it does in Bardsong. The card furthest to the left that hasn't taken a turn yet takes a turn.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if we move Bloodlust ahead of me, I'll just finish my turn, then it will be Bloodlust immediately because it hasn't had that turn yet. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and make sure that I am not the target of Bloodlust, because that's awful, because I do not defend very well. So I'm going to use Sleight of Hand. I only get 1 die on this because I'm thieving 1. Where have the dice gone? I've lost the dice. This is bad.
So, oh, they're over here. They were hidden in the tokens. There we go. Let's bring them down here. There we go.
I have great defense, by the way, so anyone feel free to shift things over to me as much as you want.
Yeah, so let's...
Yeah, so we just need to make sure that Fraser's not the one that's being hit. So he has the Wreath of
Nice.
Garlic, which will make him a bit more resistant to damage, but he's not as resistant as we are.
Yes, I really don't want to get hit by this one. So I got my 7, so that's a pass. So I'm going to swap these two initiative cards around.
Yep.
So that Bloodlust will target the knight instead of me. And that's my turn finished.
So we actually have a choice here, Alex, because what I could do is I could move into Count Draenor's space and hit him with the stake, which will hopefully do quite a bit of damage, but that means he's going to attack both me and you when he takes his turn next. Or I could stay where I am and just try and shoot him because I've got a little bit of ranged skill. So I get 2 dice at that. But it means he'll just come and attack me afterwards, but we've got less of a chance of causing damage. So what do you think we should probably do with this?
Sorry, what was that?
I was just saying we've got a decision to make here because I can move in and attack him in melee, but that will result in Count Draenor hitting both of us next turn. Now we're both quite good at defending ourselves, but it means he's going to hit both of us.
I'd love to get him off the coffin. I feel that 1 wound limitation is not fun.
That's true. So what I'll do then is I'll stay where I am and I'll take a ranged skill test rather than a melee one. So that means I'm going to roll 2 dice because my range skill is 3 and I need to get 6s, which is misses. No, so I didn't get anything from that. That means that my turn has gone and we'll have Bloodlust coming next. So he's going to go for 2 spaces towards the Cluster Adventurer, which is going to be... Ooh, don't move the game board, Jamie. Okay, do you want to get those terrain cards out there, Fraser, and then we'll lock the game. I'm going to lock the game board down.
Exceedingly well.
Okay,
how did they fall through? They just fell through the board. That was awesome.
So just Tabletopia things. And then we'll definitely lock the game board so that doesn't happen again. Gotcha. Right, so let's try that again. So I have gone over here. Count Draenor's going to come and attack me. He's going to force me to take a defense skill test. Now I'm skill 4 in defense, so I can roll 3 dice. I need to get a 7, which I do. So I managed to evade the attack. Lash Out's going to come next. He's going to move 1 space towards me. So he's going to stay where he is, but he's going to attack horizontally, which means he's going to attack everyone on this line. So he's going to hit both of us, Alex.
Okay.
So both of us need to take a defense skill test. Do you want to take that one first?
Sure, I'll go ahead. I'm rolling 3 dice because I have defense of 4, and that means, well, defense 4, and I got a 7, so I'm good to go.
Okay. For me, that is a pass as well. Cool. Which then makes it your turn, Alex.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take the wizard action. I'll go ahead and do a magic attack, range 1, inflict 1 wound for each die, and then he can be moved 1 space if successful, which doesn't really help us necessarily. Actually, I don't mind pushing him away to the bones.
You probably want to just move off the coffin because the regenerate action that's coming afterwards says he's going to move on to the coffin space no matter where he's coming from.
I can't tell if he was wounded. If he was wounded by a melee attack made by an adventurer, move onto the coffin terrain. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so I'll go ahead and move off the coffin. But my range 1 is diagonal too.
That's true. So maybe if you come into the same space as Count Draenor, because he's going to move away from us anyway.
To answer your question, though, we measure across flat edges, not diagonally.
Great. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to move onto the space, and then I will roll 3 dice, I believe. Yeah.
So you've got 2 for your magic normally, and you've got your air battle staff as well.
Yep. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and roll those, and we go. And that's going to be 1, 2 hits, it looks like. I need a 6. I need a 6. That's 3 hits.
That's it. So you got 1, 2, 3 damage onto Count Draenor. Okay. That's really good going.
And I can move him a space. I'll just go toss him where he's moving anyway.
Sure. Okay. So then he does his regenerate action, which is he heals a wound, so he goes back to 8. Moves onto the coffin space. He attacks the same space, but nobody's there because we moved out of the way. So that means we're now going to reset the initiative track for the next round.
And he heals a wound again because then the round and he bumps up 1.
Do you want to just talk about what's going on with the adventurer health while I'm doing this, Fraser?
Yeah. So unlike the campaign where we all have our individual health builds and we can all die as an individual, in a boss fight we have pooled health. So we either all are in the fight or we are all out of the fight. It starts on 20 normally, and then we reduce it by 1 for every individual wound that we are currently suffering. Okay. So at the moment that's 3, and so we start on 17 health. And then the boss has a similar health, except he starts on 10. In addition to that, with boss health, some bosses have a rule called Enrage, where when they are reduced to a certain hit point value, Enrage triggers and special rules start occurring. For Count Draenor, that's 5, so when we reduce him to 5 health, his Enrage is going to activate, and we'll come to that when we come to it.
Okay, so it's my turn to go next. So I'm going to step onto the coffin terrain with Count Draenor. I'm going to attack him with the stake. So the stake says when an adventurer is making a melee attack against Count Draenor, or melee skill test, the complexity is 2 lower and the target number is 3 lower. Okay, so this, instead of being 5 and 8, it's actually going to be 3 and 5. So my melee skill is higher than that. I'm going to roll 3 dice. And each 5 I roll is going to be a wound on Count Draenor, which is going to be 2 of them. Okay, so 1, 2, dropping down to 7.
Just the one, because he's still in his coffin.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's still on his coffin. Pardon?
The coffin limits him to 1 wound.
Yeah.
Per turn.
Did not realize that. That's my bad. Okay, so he's taken 1, and that is the end of my turn. So lash out happens. He's going to move 1 space towards me. He's going to attack horizontally, so he's going to attack me and Alex again. We take our defense skill tests. I have passed mine.
You got yours. I'll go ahead and do mine. And we're going to go ahead, and I have passed mine as well.
You have Fraser's turn.
Right, so he's going to move towards me, which is not the worst thing ever because it pulls him off the coffin. So I think I'm just going to shoot him and try and get that 1 extra point of damage on him. So because I've got a range skill of 4 and I've got my upgraded bow, I get to roll all 4 dice.
Yep.
0.
And yep, just the 1 point of damage anyway. We drop him by another 1 to 7.
So Eternal Fury, he's going to move 1 space towards you.
Yep.
He's going to attack both me and you, Fraser. So do you want to take your defense test first, where you got your reroll for your garlic?
So I get 1 die because my defense is quite low. I get 2, but I'll reroll that into a 6, so I still fail. So we take a point of damage. So all of our health collectively goes down by 1.
My defense test was also failed. I rolled 2 6s.
Oh, that's tremendous. So we're now on 15.
Okay. And that makes it into Alex's turn.
Well, in my case, I will pop up. I can't, if I go to Adventure Space, I can never roll more than 1 die. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move onto his coffin, I guess. He's going to be moving 2 spaces to the closest.
It's worth noting it's never roll more than 1 die when taking a melee or defense skill test.
The trading is, the question is, do I want to suffer more wounds? Because the problem is he's going to move 2 spaces to the closest adventurer, which is actually you. You're in a space, so that's not a problem.
Closest adventure, it's always the initiative track it refers to.
Oh, so he's going to move towards me. So basically the problem is I can choose between trying to get more attacks on him versus taking more wounds. I'm going to risk it. I want to be aggressive here. He's got low health enough. I'll risk it. So I'm going to go ahead and roll 3 dice again without my thing over there, and we're going to be rolling 3 dice against him, needing 6s, and we will get 1 hit. Okay, not the best over there, but I'll take it. That means it's going to be his turn. He's going to move towards me, and that means he's going to be attacking me. Same space, 3 dice. I can only roll 1 die because of the fact that I'm on a coffin. So I will roll 1 die, but I'll get a 7 anyway. I did not get a 7. And I suffer 3 wounds, and Count Draenor heals. Oh, I missed the fact that he heals. That was a tactical error because of that. I was just trying to deplete him. Okay, that was the round.
Let's reset the initiative track. This is the bit that's slightly more fiddly because we're on tabletop.
Yep. I'm always last, you people.
I'm not doing this on purpose, I swear.
It seems like you're doing it on purpose. Whoops, sorry.
Okay, so Fraser.
So me first, right, I'm just going to move away from him a little bit and then shoot him with my bow. Let's go for big numbers. That's 2 damage. That puts him onto 5, and that will trigger his enrage. So he's angry because we're dealing more damage to him than he thought he was going to take.
Okay.
So we'll come over to the reference sheet. We'll read out the enrage since I triggered it. I'll read it. Count Draenor lashes out in a frenzy and rushes towards his coffin in an attempt to shield himself from damaging blows and perhaps buy time for something else. Remove Count Draenor from the playing area. Flip the coffin terrain card to the closed side, and the 4 bones terrain cards to the skeleton side. Place each adventurer on a bones terrain card as evenly spread out as possible. So, he's jumped into his coffin. He's lashed out at us and he's forced us into the corners where skeletons have risen from the ground and are now clawing at us to prevent us from getting to the coffin to get Count Raynor out while he heals, while he's inside it. So, while he's not on the table, he doesn't take turns. Once we can force the coffin back open, if you look at the coffin card, he'll pop back out and we'll resume the round at normal. But for the moment, we have to deal with these skeletons, which force us to deal with them rather than taking our turns as normal.
Okay.
So, Count Rainer's going to do his Call of the Dead, which he skips, and then it's Perkins' turn.
Okay, so I'm going to take my melee skill test to just beat down the skeleton that's fighting me. And I do slay the skeleton, so that just flips the skeleton card back over to Bones, and that's my turn. We skip Count Draenor.
And Wizard, I'm going to be rolling a single die, I believe. My stat is low enough on that. I'll be rolling a single die and getting a 9. Beautiful. Okay.
Nice. Nicely done.
Perfect. Well, I stay on it. Yep. Okay.
Yep. And then we end the turn. So because we're at the end of the round, Count Draenor gets a wound back. And we reset the initiative.
Okay.
Hey, you're not last.
Finally, I was about to. After I saw that bow pop up, I was ready.
I'm going first every round as well. This is strange.
It is quite strange.
Well, this time's actually helpful because it'll help you get that coffin, hopefully.
So I need to deal with the skeleton because mine's still a skeleton. I'm only going to get to roll 1 dice at this. Let's go for 6s.
Boom.
Got it.
Nailed it.
Okay. That's going to be Call of the Dead. He's still off the board. It's going to be Wizard. I'm going to walk 1, and can I walk 2? How much can I walk?
Just the 1.
Just the
but
1.
what you can do is you can use read the terrain to move Perkins to try and give him.
Gotcha. Okay. So one of us should move for each successful die. Fine. So let's go ahead and do that. And I believe what's my backpack skill? Backpack skill is 1. So I'm going to roll 1 die, hoping for a 6.
Yep.
And we got 5. 3. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so that's going to be, I'll move this way. I'm going to do the same trick and try to move Fraser, but I think my gathering skill is also 1, so I'll only roll 1 die at it. I do get a 10 though.
That's not bad.
And then we'll shift Fraser off the bones, get him closer to the coffin. So we end the round, try and get a win back, reset the initiative.
Someone's selected.
Yeah, someone's holding the. There we go.
Got it.
Hey, look at that! I'm first, which is good. That's actually very helpful.
Hey,
so I'm going to go ahead and pop up there. I get to roll. My crafting should be pretty high. I think I have at least 4. I do, so I'm going to roll 3 dice on that. And
you've got your expert smith hammer as well for the equipment
good
die.
Point. Okay, so I get to add 1 to the skill test. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And we'll grab all 4 of those, which means I'm definitely guaranteed mathematically 0. Boom. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip that coffin. And now, to counter what pops right back up.
Yeah, and now the fight continues as it did before.
Which means he's going to regenerate, which is not the best. Okay.
Not ideal, yeah. So he's going to move on to the coffin terrain where he is. He's going to heal a wound, and he's going to attack you with a defense test needing a 7.
But I can go ahead and roll all 3 dice, and that's...
You can.
Okay. And I hit it. Okay.
Nice. You're good. Okay, so I am also going to jump onto the coffin terrain and hit him with a stake. Okay. Roll those. Yep, and we got a wound on him as well with stake.
Although he is attacking both of us, if I'm not mistaken.
So he's going to attack. He's going to move 1 space towards me, which he's already on. Yeah, he's going to attack both of us because he's hitting vertically.
Okay, I'll go ahead and roll my defense. I'm good. Yep.
And I am also good. Razor.
Right, I don't get hindered too much by the bonds, so I'm going to move on to bonds. I'm going to shoot him.
Sure.
All the dice. Yep, there's another wound on him.
Okay.
Good.
Isn't there 2? 0 and 9?
It's 2.
Oh, he's,
yeah,
on the coffin.
He's on the coffin.
Ah. Okay, and so that is Bloodlust. Okay, so he's going to move 2 spaces towards you, Fraser, and he's going to do he's going to hit you with the defense test. I'm going to reset.
I'll pass it. Don't even worry about it.
I'm not worried about it.
No one said they're worried.
No, I get to reroll it.
Reroll. Boom.
See, told you, easy.
That is fair.
Yep.
First again, Alex. There you go. It's coming around.
Great. Well, I'm going to walk one over and smash him with a, what's it called? I'm going to smash him with my wizard attack, which means 3 dice plus my wizard attack over there. So I get that as well. That's going to be, no, 2 dice, sorry. I don't roll that.
2 dice.
Yep,
Yeah,
okay.
that's it.
And I need 7s, 6s. And we get a 0, 8, 8. That's 3 wounds.
Nice.
And I get to move him a space, which is
1,
going to set him up
2,
nicely for you.
Love it. Synergy. This is perfect. Okay, so then we have Lash Out. Move 1 space towards the wizard. So he's gonna either move here or here. So where do we think we should go?
One up, obviously, towards you. Oh, interesting. No, that's a tough one because your turn is he's next. So the question is, do we want 2 people attacked? Wait, I would have seen which way he was going. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'll move him up into the bones. I'd rather we take the damage and you can get a nice pot shot in.
It's fair. Okay, so he's moved up to there. He's going to attack Fraser with a defense test.
As well as me.
So he's hitting horizontally, so that's across this way.
Oh, horizontal. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Yep.
2, you get a reroll.
2, rerolling.
And you get
Oh, not this time.
Still not quite. So we're on 11.
Okay. But it's to you, sir.
Yep.
Right. I'm going to try and get him to move towards me so Perkins can come and hit him. So I'm going to move across. And then I'll shoot him.
Yep.
If I roll well here.
Then it's over.
Bring it home.
It's 3 hits. 6s. That was not bringing it
that
home.
was not
That was the furthest thing from bringing it home.
Okay, so he's going to move 1 space towards me, which is probably quite useful, actually. He's going to attack same space. So I think we should probably bring him down to hit you, Alex, because you're a little bit more resilient than Fraser. So he's going to hit you with his defense test.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we got a 9.
Awesome.
Which is
okay,
great,
so
that was not a good card.
I'm going to leap onto him and hit him with a stake. Needing 5s. Let's do it. And we get 1 of them. Oh, we're so close. So close. 2 to go.
Okay, Bloodlust.
Bloodlust. 2 spaces towards the close adventurer, which is me. He's going to hit both of us.
Yeah, don't fail these.
I'll go ahead and roll.
Yeah, those are nasty.
I got an 8.
Style it out. Okay, we need another one of those. Another one of those.
No.
No.
2, 3. Okay.
And we reset the initiative track. Come on.
Okay.
All right, let's finish him off.
Ooh, I got my attack over there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and roll 3 dice again. And I just need 6s. And we could push him somewhere.
Yeah, you might want to move away because he's going to hit me on the same space. He's going to hit you if you stay still.
Towards that same space. So I guess I'll move up so that I'm not on there.
Sure.
Okay, great. We're going to roll these over here. And we're just going to get 6s. 5, 7, 7. 2 hits.
2 of them?
2 hits. We can work with that.
He's down to 1.
Okay.
Call the dead. He's going to attack me. Take a defense test. We pass it. And then we're going to hit him with a stake. Come on. Nailed it. Got him dead.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Fraser, do you want to read out the victory text?
Yeah, after I've knocked him over by dropping him on you. Physics.
Nice.
Victory. Count Draenor clutches the stake in his chest and collapses to the ground, which is actually what happened. Never to rise again. The village of Draenor has been saved from the monstrous vampire. Congratulations, you have completed the RuneScape Kingdoms demo.
Great.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of the demo session. So this would be the first campaign playthrough. We actually played through that pretty quickly this time. If people playing the full game, you could take your existing skills, experience, equipment, resources, everything you gathered, roll straight through into the next campaign and play onwards and upwards for a high degree of difficulty and a brand new story. So you'd be getting brand new exploration cards shuffled into the decks. You'd have new side quests to play with. You'd have new equipment you could possibly draw, and obviously lots more stuff from the event and the vault decks as well. So you're always encountering new content when you roll through the game. And yeah, Okay,
So a
so
few
that's
things. First of all, the most important thing is where's that card 33 that the noob would have given us?
okay. So that would have been a Rune Scimitar because Rune Scimitar, the noob, not being a fairly early player in the game, wouldn't have understood the value of the item that he had and would have sold it to you for your measly 2 coins, and we'd have drawn quite a powerful melee attack
Makes
weapon.
sense. That's pretty cool. Add 1, add 2. That's pretty solid. That is very solid. Yeah. So okay, cool. How many campaigns in the base game?
So there are 4 campaigns in the base game, and then there are 3 more across the different expansions that you can play with, as well as some extra content as well. So there's actually, like, in total, if you get everything, there's 7 to play through. So plenty of content in the game.
This is roughly 2 hours. So you're talking about roughly 14 hours before you get to replayability.
Yeah. I think depending. Say we played it quite quick pace. I think.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, probably somewhere. It's like for most people, somewhere around 3 hours. I think for each campaign. So you're looking at about 21 hours worth of content to play through if you want to. And then you're also playing it sequentially through the core box. But once you got the expansions, there's like a recommended order in which you could play through all of them, like narratively.
Okay.
But you could play through any of them in whatever order you like. If there's a particular like famous boss from the video games that you want to play with, say Zook is one of the very big fan favorite ones. You could play with that one first if you want to, as soon as you've finished your core box campaign.
And each campaign is one boss, right?
Each campaign is one boss.
And roughly how many mini bosses?
So each campaign has usually 1 mini boss, I think.
Sometimes 2, and the mini bosses can get that was an example of probably the most like straightforward mini boss that you'll ever fight.
Yep.
There are, I don't want to give things away, but there are different types of mini bosses. Some of them aren't even enemies. Some of them are like puzzles and scenarios you've got to pick your way through. We do a lot with the mini boss mechanic and the mini boss board.
Gotcha. Cool. So I think that's my questions. I know you already have information on the pledges online. And the campaign launches May 31st. I don't know if any questions. Anything else you want to share or cover?
Just that there are multiple other ways to get involved. We obviously, as you said, we've got the campaign launching on the 31st. We'll have if you click on the links in the various different blogs we've got on steamforge.com or through the RuneScape and Old School RuneScape news websites, you can get involved by clicking the Notify Me page so that you can get invited to the Kickstarter as soon as it launches. We also have a Facebook fan group on Facebook so that you can come and speak to myself about different questions you've got to do with the game. We're also taking part in a number of the official Jagex live streams as well, like on their videos for Old School RuneScape and RuneScape. There's plenty of different ways you can get involved and find out about the game. But yeah, otherwise, join us on the Kickstarter on the 31st of May, and we'll see you there.
Great. I'll make sure I'll speak to you after. I'll get all the links. I'll throw all those links in the description down below, so anyone can pop on over to the various different ways to get engaged. But that's basically it. Thanks so much, Jamie and Fraser. I appreciate it. To everyone else, we'll potentially see you at the campaign, and have a good one.
Thank you.